background noise. And we're hopefully going to be improving things as a result. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be coming across as a bit loud or if it's going to be coming... If it is a bit loud, obviously just turn it down. But it seems to be clipping in quite a nice place. It's not clipping. It's not too loud. It seems to be coming through at just a nice level. So, yeah, okay. I think we're doing all right so far. But, yes, tonight on SmackDown, we have got Logan. This is going to be a big topic of conversation. Logan Paul is going to be a massive topic of conversation. We've got Hit Row taking on New Day, taking on Imperium, taking on Butch and Ridge Holland. This is a tag team fatal four-way. The winner of that will go on to face the New Day. I've got a feeling that has changed because I think Street Profits were in that. I don't know if there's any reason why that's changed, but I'm sure Street Profits are in there. I don't remember Butch and Ridge, so I don't know. I feel like that's different. And then Raquel Rodriguez taking on Bayley. So Raquel against Bayley. We've got that match tonight. Obviously, Bayley got involved during the tag match, so it makes sense that Raquel would want revenge. So Raquel taking on Bayley, which I think is a fun match, and it's got a purpose, and I'm totally down for it. So those are the three matches that have been announced, or the three segments that have been announced for tonight. Kevin said, I don't care what anyone says. Logan could have a good future. I'm looking forward to this. Brenton said, shout out, sir. Questions out the gate. Are you surprised AEW viewership number? AEW is getting some big viewerships. So it's kind of funny how, like, on a week-by-week basis, if the number's below what people are expecting, then AEW is dead. And if the number's just slightly above what people are expecting, then AEW is thriving. So, I mean, for me, I wouldn't really look at it on the week-by-week basis. I don't think you can tell massively on a week-by-week basis. I think what you need to do is just go a bit wider and really information that we don't get. It would be very interesting to look at year-on-year, month-on-month, and really get like a bit of a bigger picture as to how AEW is doing rather than just week by week. I mean, what I will say is that, yes, this week was certainly above where I was expecting. I thought that it would be around the million mark, and it ended up being 1.17. So, yes, well above. We actually spoke about it yesterday during a member stream, and I was saying I really don't know how they've managed to do that this week, because you would think it's another week further removed from the drama. The drama bump should have been last week, and everyone was expecting it last week. And then last week came through as 1.1 million.97 or something, which people were really disappointed with. I think it was 1097 or something along those lines. People were expecting last week to be 1.2, 1.1 at least, 1.15, something like that. Came through at 1.09. So I think that, like, last week, all I had was people saying how disappointing it was. This week, people saying how amazing it is. So, yeah, I mean, my feelings on AEW just haven't changed. I think that they are around the million mark. They seem to be just clipping over it rather than under it. I think that surely has to come down to the drama. I don't know why it took a week for that to show in the ratings, but the only thing that's changed is the drama, isn't it? That's the only thing that's different. So unless, like, the tournament and the quality of matches that we got this week played a part, and maybe they did. It was Danielson against Jericho. It was Moxley against Sami, semi-finals. Maybe people wanted to know who was going to make it to the final. I don't know. I still think that is as a result of the drama, of course, because we shouldn't be having this tournament. CM Punk should be champion. So maybe there's some lessons here for Tony to learn. I would say there's quite a few lessons for Tony to learn, but out of this situation, you know, maybe he can learn a few things by looking at the numbers, looking at what he booked, and maybe that'll just help him going forward. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't think anything's changed. I really don't. I think they were clipping under a million at 900 and some thousand. Now they're going just over a million. I think that is down to the drama. I think if you was to take the drama away, we would be back under 900,000. And, you know, I mean, look, they've got an opportunity to kind of try and grow with where they are. They've got an opportunity to try and, like, where they are right now, try and build upon it. But I've got to think that next week will be a big number because of it being Grand Slam. And what we've seen this in the past, whereby they've had decent numbers, decent run of numbers, and then, you know, it'll just eventually lose its steam. So I've got to think that that's more than likely what's going to happen. So I think they'll do a nice number next week, big show next week, next Wednesday, I believe, I think is Grand Slam. So nice number there. And then I think, you know, it'll settle down. Obviously, CM Punk and Young Bucks coming back from suspension is going to be a big moment. That's like quite an interesting manufactured moment, because he didn't have to suspend them, although you could argue he really did, but he suspended them. That means they've been absent, which means now, you know, there's going to be a return, or you'd think there'd be a return. There's obviously rumors that CM Punk's unhappy, people saying that he's looking to walk, feelers that the Bucks are sending out and Kenny Omega's sending out and all this kind of stuff. So we don't quite know how it's going to shake out, but right now, no one's left. So right now, as soon as their suspensions are over, they'll return. So, yeah, that'll be a nice little bump as well. So, yeah, these are nice little bumps, but consistently it's around the million mark. So I don't really feel like anything's changed. But they've got an opportunity. They've got eyes on them. And it'll be, you know, down to them now to try and capitalize on that. Elliot, hello, said, I think Logan versus Roman is smart. It's in Saudi, so the crowd won't hate it. You don't hurt him with a loss. Big social media traction protects other talent, says Elliot. Yeah, now, I don't know if I'm split on this, to be honest. I don't know if I'm split on this. I think I know where I am on this. How do you feel about Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul? 46% love it, 23% hate it, 30% don't care, right? That is a poll that's live on Twitter right now that I put up. It's had just over 200 votes. I always like to get at least 250 to get a decent read. We always find that once we get to about the 250 mark, 300 mark, that's when like you can get a really, really good snapshot as to how people are feeling. Now, I do have to put the caveat on that is Twitter. It is just worth remembering that's Twitter, and Twitter is a very strange place. Dare I say it's more youth-orientated. So it's a snapshot of a part of the WWE universe, but I don't know how much you can say it's a fair reflection of the whole WWE universe. So it's 46% love it, 23% hate it, 30% don't care. So you can look at that a few different ways. You can look at it as 46% love it. That's more than anyone else, any of the other brackets, right? So you can look at it that way. You can also look at it that 46 love it or 53 either hate it or don't care. So the results are a little bit close. Let's put it this way. I think it's quite close in its like 50-50-ness. I think, though, that Love It is shading it, but I do take into account that, you know, Twitter is Twitter, and it's, as I said, a more youthful kind of aspect of the WWE universe. My feelings on it are that I don't have strong feelings on it, but I am definitely hating it more than loving it. I know people are saying that I've just read some of the comments. In fact, I'll read you some of the comments. I'll just read them all in a row, right? Deez Rebel said, this is a joke. If Vince did this, the world would implode. It's an absolute shocker from WWE and Triple H. The honeymoon is over. Alfie said, I don't mind. It's at Crown Jewel. I think it's a bit much. Someone else should have had the spot like Karrion or Kevin, although KO doesn't do the Saudi shows. But the point is, at Crown Jewel, it shouldn't be Logan. JP said, I couldn't care less. Very highly doubt Roman will drop the belts to him, so it's a bit pointless. Grumpy, Kore, Grumpy Crow said it'll put butts in seats in OC tonight. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, you said it's great. It's proven he can go at a high level. It's not like they're putting some rando celebrity in a world title match. It'd be interesting to see how he steps up one-on-one against someone of the caliber of Roman. Jim said if it happens in Saudi, I can be glad to miss it. Harley said, not gonna lie, I love it. Look at the buzz. This is the kind of stuff I like and I can't help it. This is the definition of a fantasy matchup. It's a special attraction for Saudi. Roman will win and then we'll move on. Rashawn said, I'm in between. Matthew said, I don't mind it. I don't want a celebrity winning a championship. I know Logan is trained and dedicated. I know he won't win, but I was thinking it could just be for the one belt. It is a typical crown jewel main event, so not too bad. Vento Box said it sucks. Trey gives a thumbs down. Yeah, my feelings on it are I'm not a fan. The reason why I'm not a fan is because I mean, listen, this guy has had 2 matches. He's had 2 matches. The fact that we're sat here and just anyone has had 2 matches and they now find themselves having a title opportunity is pretty crazy to me. I mean, that just is pretty crazy. I'd be saying the exact same thing if this Bron Breakker. If Bron Breakker came up from NXT, won 2 main roster matches, and then found himself in a title match, I would be saying this is way too soon. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? Like, it's crazy. This is crazy. I don't know why we're doing this. I feel like Logan is someone that's got fans, and that's why we're doing it, because he's got this ready-made fan base. I don't know why we're in such a rush. Like, why could we not have built Logan up more and done this match next year? Like, why is it we're doing this now? Is it because it's Saudi? But like, rather than saying, oh, it's all right, it's only Saudi. I don't get why people aren't a bit frustrated with that. Like, it's Saudi, right? It's Saudi Arabia, and they want an attraction, and so Logan could be that attraction, right? But what I don't understand is, like, this guy's had 2 matches. They're clearly only doing this because they want to capitalize on his fan base, and so he's fast-tracked his way to this title opportunity. There's no other way of putting it. And, like, people seem to have adopted this attitude of, oh, it's only Saudi. It's only Saudi. I don't think he's going to win. It doesn't really matter. I'm just a bit like, well, it does matter. There are other people that go, just because it's Saudi doesn't really mean anything. Like, you could go for anybody. Like, I believe Logan's on Raw. So that means, I mean, we could have been having AJ Styles. We could have had AJ Styles against Roman Reigns. We could have had anyone, literally anyone. Finn Balor against Roman Reigns. He could have got revenge for what happened to him before. So, I mean, the one thing is, I'm not like totally down on it. I'm not going to be like ranting and raving on this subject because I know what this is about. It's about trying to capitalize on his fan base. And, you know, this is what I've been warning people about in regards to celebrity wrestling. I just flipping don't like any of it. And he did put on a good match, but I mean, one good match now at SummerSlam apparently makes it like acceptable for him to get like a title opportunity. This is like the dirty side of WWE that I really don't like. This is the dirty side. This is WWE trying to capitalize on like his fan base and trying to kind of, it's just dirty. This isn't about putting on the best match. This isn't about giving someone a title shot that deserves it. This is about someone coming in that jumps the queue and after 2 matches gets a title opportunity. And I mean, it might be a fantasy match for some. I can only put it down to like, I could understand it being a fantasy match for some, but I've got to think that for a lot of those people that this is a fantasy match for, they're people that are Logan fans. I don't know they're WWE fans. So have they fast-tracked him because they want him to really shout about WWE and to try and obviously bring those fans in? But wouldn't those fans be watching anyway? Didn't those fans watch at SummerSlam? I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what we're doing. Like, surely the Logan fans will watch whatever happens. Like, he doesn't need a title match to get his fans to watch. He doesn't need to be in a title match for that. I don't quite get it. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are. To boy, Liv is champion, said Days, hope you are well. Doing good, bud. Hope you're well also. I'm doing all right. We're just digging into this Logan thing. Logan and Roman, which is expected to either be announced tonight or eventually get announced. Lots of rumors going around that it's going to be at Crown Jewel. Yeah, I don't know. People do not like it for you guys was loving it. The world has been waiting for this week's episode of SmackDown, said YouTube Air. Roman Logan is going to be a regular match. It's a marquee match, no matter what people think. Oh God, let's go back up. I saw something about Bad Bunny. We saw Bad Bunny. Let's read. Where was the Bad Bunny comment? Here it is. Big Time Back said, we saw Bad Bunny has got millions and millions of fan base, and it didn't make a lick of difference in the ratings. Only merch and social media attraction. United We Love said, this is nothing to do with Logan's SummerSlam performance, because if it's based on top matches this year, Seth would have faced Roman 3 or 4 times this year. Yeah. The only thing I would say is that if Logan was atrocious and people were like, man, like laying into him, if the WWE universe had laid into Logan after his SummerSlam showing, I don't know if WWE would have had the confidence to have put him in this position. But I think because his SummerSlam match went so well, I think they're probably feeling a bit more like, okay, not everyone, they know, without a shadow of a doubt, they know this is not going to be to everyone's taste. So they have had to like weigh that up. And I think because his SummerSlam match was so well received, they probably feel quite good that people will be like, well, he did well at SummerSlam. Let's see how he does against Roman. Like, that will be people's opinions. That will be someone's opinion out there. So I think you're right. It's certainly not based on performance. I mean, you can't have 2 matches, neither of which being like number 1 contenders or anything. One was a tag match. The other is a match against The Miz because he attacked you. And now all of a sudden, because you have exchanged a few words on a podcast, you get yourself a title match, potentially. I think, to be honest, that's the problem. I don't mind Roman Logan. I don't mind. Roman against Logan doesn't bother me at all. I'll be straight up honest. I don't care. I don't care about Logan Roman. I think where my issue comes from is the belts. And I know that Logan won't win. And if he does, well, it'll let Rome burn. That's what I'll say, because there's plenty of people that will be upset if that happens. There'll be people that will be happy, but those will be people which I don't even know. I don't even know if there'd be people that watch WWE. I've got to think there'd just be Logan fans. I can only imagine it would be Logan fans that would love that situation. That Logan was the one to end this run by Roman. I mean, I just don't even want to consider it. But it's the fact it's for the title. And as I said, I'd feel the same if it was Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker coming up, getting 2 matches, and then getting a title shot. I'd be asking the exact same question. Like, it doesn't feel like he's earned this opportunity, and that's what it comes down to. So actually, I think I'm starting to get some clarity on this now. I don't like it, but it's not the match I don't like. It's the fact that he's getting a title shot that he doesn't deserve. That's what I don't like. So if it was Roman Logan at Saudi, not for the belts, I could get with that. I could get with that. Even if that was like, if you beat Roman, you get a title shot. I could even go that far. Because I don't think he beats Roman. So I don't think I have to worry about it. So, yeah. Okay, I feel better now. I know where I sit on the situation. That's where I sit on the situation. I don't mind the match as long as it's not for the belts. Of course it will be. And so I don't really get why. I don't really get what he's done to achieve that. Just Shanks Wrestling said, it makes me sick what he did before WWE. I just can't. Oh, you still... That's fair enough. I mean, it was quite a long time ago. And what I will say... I'm not going to make excuses for him, but he is a different person now, or at least seemingly comes across as a different person. So, Yeah, that was a big mistake, and there will be people that won't be able to ever forgive him about that. But I've moved on from that. I think that was that he was young. It was a good few years ago now, and he does come across as a different person. I don't know loads about him, but I have obviously followed him in his kind of boxing adventures, and so I've seen his press conferences, seen him train. And I thought he was pretty good. It was actually Jake during the build of those that I thought was more immature than Logan. And I think that was a real wake up call for him. I think that was a real wake up call. So we don't see him doing that kind of stuff anymore. He tends to just do his podcast now, and I think he has changed. Hasib said there's a press conference tomorrow for Roman Logan. Did you see they're making it big? I've never seen this before. Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, that could be. I don't know that that's specifically like because of it being Roman Logan, or if this is something they might look to do going forward for big matches. Because, for example, never seen a post press conference like they did after Crown Jewel. So it could be that we are looking now at press conferences happening on a more regular basis. And, you know, I'm down for that. I actually think that's a really good idea. I thought the post press conference was a really good idea. And actually, AEW has shown you why it's good. You could also argue they've shown you why it's not good. But look at the buzz that AEW has had. Look at the ratings that AEW has got. And if they could have just worked that rather than that being legit, if that could have been worked, then, you know, that's a glimpse into what those press conferences can do. I mean, you don't need to really be going as far as what they went there. I mean, the AEW post press conference for All Out was clearly a shoot, and things were spoken about that were very, very sensitive. But it gives you a glimpse and an idea as to what you could do in those post-fight press conferences that could be scripted. You've just got to obviously make sure it doesn't come out that it is scripted and try and keep it, you know, as pipe bomb as possible. And you wouldn't do it all the time because then it would be overkill. But you can definitely see what, you know, there's a benefit to those post-fight press conferences. I also would like the questions to be... I think the questions weren't that great from the journalists as well. I think, like, Triple H needed to be grilled a little bit more about what's next for Roman. Needed to be grilled about, like, what else he plans to change. And just, like, I think there was quite a few questions that Triple H in particular could have been asked. Those UFC post-fight press conferences are really good when they sit down and talk to Dana White. And they talk to him about what's next for such and what's going to happen with blah, 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 and when are you going to Africa, and when are you doing this, and all this kind of stuff. And you get some really interesting answers. So, I like the post-fight press conferences. I thought the one after Clash at the Castle was a bit dull. I thought it was a bit rubbish. I mean, really, the only talking point that came out of it was they spoke to Tyson Fury a lot, and he said about that he's got a fight coming up, which obviously now looks like it is going to be Joshua. He didn't say that at the time, though, of course. And we had the Roman thing. Roman just basically said to a journalist, "Acknowledge me." He got up and walked out. Brilliant. So I think they need a bit of work on them, but I think they're pretty good. Equally, press conferences for title matches could be really good. I mean, look at like big boxing events. Look at big UFC events. They all do press conferences. So it makes sense that you would do press conferences if you've got a big championship match. And this is also why I don't think the title should be defended that often, because I think you should build them up this way. I think it should be in line with boxing and in line with UFC. The only difference with WWE is that they really only have one or two big titles. You could argue four if you include the women's. And I suppose you could do women's press conferences, and that would be cool. So you could say four. The only problem is two of them are both on Roman at the moment. So really, at the moment, it's three. So 3 big titles is what you've got compared to UFC that's got, I don't know, 15, compared to boxing that's got about 1,000. So, yeah, you might just get a bit of repetition with the same faces. That's the only issue. So I don't know how often you'd be able to do them, but I'm down for it. I like it. And I don't know what time it is tomorrow. We have got a massive UFC stream and a massive Canelo boxing stream. We are doing Canelo taking on Triple G. But if we get a chance to watch it, I would like to try and watch it. And I would try and stream it, but I'll have to look into it. But Edward said you missed my super chat. Did I? Oh, it's one of the green ones. It doesn't show those, does it? At the top. Edward said 7 months. I love Logan, but he will get humbled. Edward, shout out to you. Elliot says, is it more that by time he's ready, Roman will be gone? Is it more that by the time he's ready, Roman will be gone? I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing stopping them doing Logan Roman. And seemingly they are. My problem, which literally during the stream is what I've come to realize, is it's just the belts being involved that bugs me. That's the only thing that bugs me. I haven't got an issue with Logan Roman, but it is just the belts being involved. So they could do that match, and they seemingly are doing that match. But I think it would just be better if at this stage it wasn't for the belts. And if you want to give Logan a title match, then you've got to do, in my opinion, a lot more to build him up and make him seem worthy of a title match. Because, you know, to come in and have 2 fights, as we said, one of them a tag match, and then go after and get a title opportunity. That's you know, because of a few words said on a podcast. Like, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? So I think, to be honest, the reason why they're doing it is because Logan's got a big fan base. It makes sense to do the match, do it over in Saudi Arabia. It was pointed out earlier, he probably won't get booed. You know, I don't think all fans think that way. I don't think all fans think, oh, does he deserve it or not? I think they're just like, oh, yes, Logan Roman, and like, that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? They don't think about, like, does he deserve it? Has he earned it? But that massively impacts if I root for somebody or not, you know? That massively changes my perspective of a wrestler. If I feel they've done enough to deserve a title match, definitely impacts my, like, how much I support them and if I, you know, want to get behind them or not. So it is something that I always take into account, sometimes subconsciously, but yeah, that's why they're doing it, to tap into the fan base. Keep your comments coming in. We don't just have to talk about Logan. Feel free to talk about whatever you want to talk about. But yeah, there's the Logan is undeniably the biggest story that's going on at the moment. So Dynamite on Wednesday should get astronomically high ratings. What comes on Wednesday? What is it up against? I don't know what it's up against. I'm sat here in the UK. I'm guessing football's back, but I don't know if there's any football on a Wednesday. But they should get high ratings, but I don't think it'll be astronomically high, just because I think they're maxing out. I think anyone that's watching AEW is watching AEW. I don't know that they're going to get that many more tuning in. I mean, they're already at last week 1.2, which is pretty much them maxing out. I think the most they've ever got is 1.4, and that was for their debut episodes. And I don't think they've ever got above that. So 1.2 is them really pushing their upper limit. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm expecting it to be 1.2 again next week. 1.2 just because I don't know where anyone else is coming from. I don't know who's going to be tuning in that isn't watching already. But it'll be very, very interesting. Very interesting to see that number. Basketball Pro said, Roman Rock won't happen at 39 for the Undisputed Universal, but Roman will face Carrion at 39 for the Undisputed Universal. Rotem said, I hate this. Wrestle with Andy said, what's happening with Carrion? I thought him or Kevin Owens would be next for a title shot. Well, Kevin Owens doesn't tend to go to Saudi out of solidarity with Sami. So I can understand Kevin not being involved in that. And maybe explains why they're not pulling the trigger on Sami or anything. So I can understand that. Carrion being next in line. I mean, Carrion's a heel. He keeps sneak attacking. So in my mind, Carrion is potentially the heel that's just below Roman. So I don't know that we would do Carrion versus Roman. If anything, I think we do Drew versus Carrion, and I could see that potentially being added to Crown Jewel. So I think that might be why we might get Carrion, but it could be Drew versus Carrion. It's weird because we're a little bit away off Crown Jewel. We're a bit away. I mean, like, obviously the next event is Extreme Rules. So it's a bit strange, kind of already building for not the show coming, but the one that's after. So, a little weird. But it is the Saudi show, and they do try to make a big deal out of that. Little KSV said, I honestly never thought seeing a worse title change than Fiend losing to Goldberg would be possible. But Logan somehow winning against Roman would definitely be worse, would it not? Yes. Yeah, I would think that for me, that would be... if he wins, he might be the worst champion in WWE history. I mean, right now, that position in my mind is maybe taken with a Sean Stasiak, and I could totally understand if you went who. Or Jinder. Jinder was bad. Jinder was not great. So I think that Jinder has got to be right up there. The Jinder one, he was not really deserving of the title. It was just they really wanted to break into India. Do you know, I've said Sean Stasiak, and now I'm thinking, is that correct? That's what's going through my head. I know Stasiak, but let's have a look. WWE Championship history. Stasiak was a transitional champion. Where's the list of champions? Literally, his only job was to get it from one champion to the other champion. He was not intended to hold it for a long, long time. List of champions. Here we go. Stan Stasiak. There we go. In my head, I was like, that's not right. It's not right. Sean Stasiak, I believe, was his son. So Stan Stasiak was the champ. Yeah. So the story with Stan Stasiak was that Pedro Morales was the champ, and he was the champ for over 1,000 days. So you know how we want Roman to get to 1,000 days. Pedro Morales was WWE champion for 1,027 days. He was a babyface champion. He was, he did a fine job. He played kind of like the Latin kind of crowd. Back in the day, I mean, without going into too much detail, they couldn't really put the belt on an American at that time because it had been widely reported that wrestling was scripted and that wrestling was fake. And so if you had an American champion, it didn't draw very well because the American audience was a bit like, not kind of... some were on board, of course, but people knew that it was all fake and it was all scripted. And so around the 60s, they couldn't go with an American champion. So that's why you have Bruno, who is of Italian descent. Bruno is champ for 2,800 days. Then they put it on Ivan Koloff, the Russian bear. And then they put it onto Pedro Morales, who holds it for 1,000 days. And he is Puerto Rican. So again, we go quite a long time. It's not until 1977 that we get like a good run by an American, and it's superstar Billy Graham. So, WWE start back in like 63, and it's not until 77 that we get any kind of substantial run by an American champion on top. Isn't that amazing? The first 17 years. There are American champions. Buddy Rogers is the first champ, but he only holds it for 36 days. He has it for just over a month. And then you've got, it was Ivan Koloff from Russia, actually, Canadian. So Buddy is the only one then. Buddy is the first champ, holds it for 36 days, and then loses it to Bruno, and that is it. And then it's not until 1977 that you get your first proper American champion, Billy Graham, who holds it for nearly 300 days. So anyway, cut a long story short, Stan Stasiak, he is a heel. He wins the belt from Pedro, holds it for 9 days, and then drops it to Bruno Sammartino. So it's a way of getting the belt from one babyface to another babyface without it having to be babyface versus babyface. So he was nothing but a transitional champion. That was the only reason why he won that belt. That's good. That's good. I'm glad we got that sorted. Wrestling Jeebus said, just dropping in to show the love for the best YouTuber in the game. Have a great show. Wrestling Jeebus, I really appreciate the support, dude. I did go back and listen to your podcast that you did. It was fun. Like the start of it where it was a good idea, actually. So I keep saying about Wrestling Jeebus. Definitely check him out on Twitter. And he did a podcast where they were talking about, I think it was Backlash, and the start of it, they go back and talk about what was happening in, I think 2006, was it? And so, like, you kind of go down, like, the music tracks and everything. It was really interesting. It was especially interesting for me because I used to work in an entertainment store. So trying to, like, picture where I was working and trying to picture exactly, I was trying to guess who was in the charts. And I got a couple, but it was good. It was fun. So I enjoyed the podcast, and not for the reasons I was expecting. So shout out to you, Wrestling Jeebus. Right, let's try and blast down some of this. Trey said, look at Sean Ross Sapp. Look at Sean Ross Sapp. Okay. Just a picture of Sean. Is that what you want me to do? Just look at a picture of Sean Ross Sapp. No, let's have a look. Sean Ross Sapp's Twitter account. What's going on? 12 minutes ago. We're getting a lot of positive reception for CM Punk Ace Steel's brawl. A lot of additional info is coming. That was 14 minutes ago. Is that what it is? Something to do with Velveteen Dream. I don't know what you want me to look at in particular. I can't see anything that's like massively jumping out. North American title is going to get defended on SmackDown. Oh, is it? Is that on WWE? Just announced that, have they? So that is going to be Solo Sikoa defending, as it said, against who? Hit Row have got their site. That was an hour ago. Tonight we've got Sammy against Ricochet. That's cool. Didn't see that get announced. Oh, there we go. Solo and new. Doesn't say on WWE yet, but I could believe them doing that. That'd be fun. Exposing said, perfect opportunity for Roman to say Logan doesn't deserve a shot at 2 belts. Only one. Theory could cash in on Logan. No, that's awful. No belts on Logan. Even if he holds it for 5 minutes. Do you really want the WWE lineage of like champions to include Logan Paul in a match that he just doesn't deserve to even be in? No. There's no reason to do that. There's so many different ways that we can separate the belts. Putting one of them onto Logan is just not a way forward. Erase Your Mind said Logan doesn't deserve any. Rotem said, is there any chance that the match won't be for the title? I don't know, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I am mentally prepared for it being for the title, and that's why I'm not ranting and raving, because I've always said as well that I think of all the celebrities, I mean, I would be a lot more upset if this was Bad Bunny. If this was Bad Bunny, if this was someone that just won flipping The Masked Singer, if this was a dancer, if this was a flipping magician, if this was a puppeteer, yeah, if this was someone that's got absolutely nothing to do with fighting, then and combat of any kind, then I would be a lot more down on this. But Logan has gone, was it 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather? And he does do a lot of boxing training. He trains a lot with Jake Paul as well. Trains a lot with the world champions that Jake brings in. I've got no doubt that he has got some good striking ability. I don't doubt that of Logan. So I think he does come in with some skills. And not only that, he was quite highly decorated, I believe, high school wrestler as well. So even though it might not be to the highest of levels, I know that he has got some like grappling ability. Whatever level that is at, I'm not sure. But I know he's not coming in like just like a guy off the street with no skill whatsoever. So I do find him to be a little bit more palatable. Just a little bit more palatable. But still doesn't mean I want to see him get a title shot after 2 fights, after 2 matches. So is there any chance he doesn't get a title match? I would have to think not. I'd have to think any Roman match is going to include the belts. I mean, if you're going to have Roman face Logan at Crown Jewel, you're not going to deny the crowd a title match at Crown Jewel, are you? So I've got to think the title's on the line. I can't wait to see the Bloodline tonight, says Philip. Connor said, do you think the North American Championship is going to be a SmackDown bout moving forwards? No, I don't. Sam said, Sean Ross Sapp has now tweeted it. Sean Ross Sapp has tweeted it. Let me have a look. What has tweeted what? About the North American belt? Is that what we're talking about? I really hate constantly going over to Twitter because I would much rather be chatting to you guys in the chat. Sean Rossap has tweeted it, right? No, he hasn't. Unless it's on Fightful. But I'm on Sean Rossap's account. I mean, there's it says SmackDown plans, which is for Fightful Select members, which I am, but I'm just not on my phone, so I don't get a chance to have a look at that. Here, found it. North American title will be defended. Details coming to Fightful Select. That's all it says. Okay, great. Logan doesn't deserve any. Right. What are your thoughts on Chad Gable? Do you think is underrated? Do I think Chad Gable is underrated? Do I think Chad Gable is underrated? Yes and no. I think that he is someone that is a very good wrestler. I think that he's got some personality. I like his promos. I think they're fine. I don't think that he oozes charisma. I think that they've given him this shoosh thing and he's running with it and he's making the most out of it. I think he's been horrifically treated. I thought his match against Johnny Gargano was great. Really enjoyed it. I think that if he can build up that body of work, then I think he will be better appreciated. So do I think he's undervalued or underappreciated? It's hard to say. He's not maximized his potential. So he's I mean, you can say it's down to the booking, but if you look at his body of work on the main roster, it's not amazing. It's not like he's having killer matches all the time and no one's talking about him. The truth of the matter is he's having average tag matches. Is just him. I mean, like the work he does is tidy and good, and you can see the potential. I don't think he's underrated. I think that he needs really to go solo and more matches like what he had with Johnny, and then he will be appreciated and people will value him. But you can only really value what you get given. And I just think that him being in various tag teams, like, do you remember when he was with Robert Roode? And like they were in that tag team. I mean, that did nothing for him. And when he was Shorty G, that we weren't talking about how great his matches were because like he was Shorty G and we were just pulling our hair out at his name. And actually, to be truthful, I don't even remember any great Shorty G matches. I don't remember him like ripping it up as Shorty G and we're all like going crazy about him. So I think that he's got potential. But if you don't fulfill that potential, if you don't maximize that potential, if you don't put on consistently great matches, I can't say I'm that surprised that people aren't buzzing about him more. So yes, he's a great wrestler. Yes, he can do a lot of great things. But equally, I would say he hasn't been. So until he starts doing it on a consistent basis, I think that he will be regarded as just that, someone that's got great potential. But he showed against Johnny Gargano, the potential is there. And he's someone that hopefully they invest in. Let's put it that way. I would rather see Sheamus, AJ, Lashley, Kofi than Logan. Oh, Sheamus would be really good, actually. Certainly after what happened at Crown Jewel. I mean, you could quite easily get Sheamus in that picture. You could easily have done a number one contenders match and got Sheamus in there. I think Sheamus is... People are right behind him at the moment, so that's a really good shout. Jay said, I'm tired of the bloodline. It's not fair. I think they're going stale. Exposing said, Sheamus Roman would have been a banger. Legend Killer says, hello. Hello. Harif says, oh, thank you. He's doing well with that. He's doing well. I think where he is right now is in like a great place. People are starting to see him maximizing his potential. Now he's got his, like, you know, to get his teeth into something. The shoosh, thank you. All of that stuff is great. And then he just needs those banger matches, which, as I said, if he can do more of the type of matches he just had with Johnny, and he's got the ability to do that, then, yeah, the sky's the limit for him. You missed my super chat. Did I? I'm sorry. Where is it? It's not even listed. Oh, is it one of those green ones again? That's such a problem. That is such a problem. It doesn't list it at the top, so, like, I always miss them. Hang on, let me see if I can go back and find it. Oh, there I am. Thank you. Ding, 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 ding. Jesus, when was it? Ding, 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 ding. I'm just scrolling back. Ding, 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 ding. Wow, James, I don't even know where it is. Was it recent? Was it old? Was it on the last stream? I can't see it at all, bud. Let me know what it said. I'll just read it. Don't super chat it. I'll just keep an eye out for it, dude. I want to get to Mitchell's as well before that disappears. Mitchell said, hey, bud, hope you're well. I was wondering, with the AEW suspensions rumored to be ending, has the punishment done anything? How would you have punished either side, and what side do you agree with? I can't say who I agree with because I'm not part of the investigation. So it's quite complex. You know, you've got Hangman that went out and did that promo. That upset CM Punk. Then things apparently have been said to the media and to the press, and that's further upset CM Punk. And basically, CM Punk's just been getting riled up and then exploded at the press conference, which was wrong. Would there have been any action against CM Punk just because of his comments? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know if they would have done anything. I think it's the altercation that has resulted in the suspensions. And then obviously we hear like lots of third-party accounts and everything, but we don't quite know the truth. One side said they banged on the door, broke in. The other side said they didn't. So I don't know. My feeling is that all of them being suspended is probably the right way forwards. I think that, you know, this thing was never de-escalated. It was always escalated. And if you're going to constantly escalate it, it's going to result in an altercation. If no one is there to de-escalate this thing, it's just going to keep building and keep growing and keep like going up and up and up and up and up. So yeah, I think that I would have handled it a similar way, to be honest. I've spoke about it actually in a different stream where I said I would like to think I would have shut down CM Punk. You know, hard to say in that moment. He's a massive star. And I can understand Tony like being put in a very awkward situation, and you've got the press there, and you run the risk of shutting him down and then him going off at you in front of the world's press, and like you potentially are not in control of that situation, whether you interrupt him or not. The only thing I would say is that I would like to think I would have interrupted him, because I'd like to think that he would have, or I would have built that respect with him enough that I would have a relationship with him whereby I would feel that I could talk to him and he would respect me and he would stop. And if he didn't, I think that would be a real problem, to be honest, that he doesn't respect me to the point where he will listen to me. That's a real problem if I'm the owner of AEW. So I think I would speak to him, because I think I'd have that relationship built already where I would feel comfortable to speak to, like, and interrupt. It's quite clear that Tony doesn't quite have that relationship, because why didn't he interrupt, and why didn't he shut it down? Like, I don't understand. Like, if he's got a good, strong relationship with CM Punk, which he should have, considering the amount of money he's paying him, and the amount I would imagine they talk backstage and work together, he should be able to turn around and say, I don't think this is the place, Phil. Can we put this on hold and we'll talk about it afterwards? Like, I don't think that that's out of order. I think that's absolutely fine. And all right, CM Punk might make a little snarky comment, but I'm sure it would move on. And yeah, it's not going to look great in front of everybody, but I think what happened looked worse. So when you talk about how would you deal with it, I think that without all the investigation and the details, it's hard to know. I think Tony has dealt with it the right way. And actually, it might not even be Tony. It's probably his HR department. His HR department, the AEW HR department, has probably come in and dealt with it this way. And what they've done is they've suspended everyone whilst there's an investigation. The results of that investigation are going to be very interesting. And that's exactly the right way to do it. And that's exactly how I would have done it as well. And as I said, I think that's probably being led by the HR department. The only thing that I would like to think I would have done different would have been that I would have jumped in and not allowed CM Punk to have put those comments out there, which potentially then wouldn't have resulted in the altercation later on. I mean, Tony has to look at himself in the mirror. If he'd stopped CM Punk, the altercation probably doesn't happen, because nothing gets said. It's the comments that lead to the altercation. And this is what we're saying. There was no one that de-escalated. Even Tony Khan, that was sat there, allowed CM Punk to come out with those comments. And that just escalated it. And then that led to the altercation. And now, everyone's suspended, blah, 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 blah. So I'd like to think that I would have changed that. But actual punishment-wise, no. I think you do the suspension, you do the investigation, and then I think it comes down to, who threw the first punch, who started all of this, like, when did it start, was there any dialogue between them? So, for example, Hangman went out and did that promo, yeah? CM Punk being a veteran, why did he not go backstage and have a word with Hangman about that promo? And if he did, what was the result of that altercation, that confrontation? Like, how did that go? And why did it go to the point where CM Punk felt that he had to do what he did in the ring? You remember when he laid the belt down and he called out Hangman Page? Like, why? How did it get to that? If someone like upsets you at work or something, right, does something wrong, say someone shouts at you, right, at work in front of a load of people, yeah? Like, you would go, I would think you would find them and you'd have a word with them, right? Your response isn't to then do the exact same thing back to them. Like, it might be, and that's kind of what CM Punk did, because Hangman went off CM Punk in a promo, and then weeks and weeks and weeks later, CM Punk then responds by doing the exact same thing to Hangman Page. The question is, why was it not dealt with between those two promos? Why was it that Hangman went off? And why did he feel like that was acceptable at first anyway? But then there's such a big chunk of time. Why was it not dealt with backstage? Why was it like allowed to just simmer and build or whatever? And then why was it that CM Punk responded in his promo? Like, that to me is crazy that these two professionals couldn't deal with this backstage. That has then allowed all of this to be. I mean, what it shows is that the division with Hangman and CM Punk, or the Elite and CM Punk, is so much deeper than that one incident. It's bigger than that one incident. It has to be. Because if it was just that one incident, I would have to think that you would have a word backstage and you would sort it. Surely you would sort it. But for it to go to the point of where it's gone to shows that there's a lot more to this, which is why the investigation is needed. And that's why I don't think anyone can sit there and go, oh, I would get rid of CM Punk, or oh, I would get rid of Hangman Page. I think it's much more complex than that. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think there's a lot more to it than that. So, yeah, a good question, but I would treat it largely as their HR department have already done. I think that's the right way to go about it. Right, let's go down. Bang, 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 bang. Robin has message retracted. It was so controversial. I don't even know what it said. I think I'm going to guess it said low gang for life. Low gang for life, baby. That's what it said. So, Robin Himpson, shout out to you. Dominic said, Days, love the streams. What's your thoughts of Braun smashing through the tag division, and when do you think he gets a tag match? Not crazy about Braun smashing through the tag division, to be honest, buds. Just because I think we're trying to build the tag division, and I feel flipping sorry for the tag division that it's been smashed through by one person. Granted, a big person, but if we are trying to build a credible tag division, that feels more of a misstep for me, than something that was a positive. I think there's, you could have just had Los Lotharios taking on someone else like Dirty Dogs and then had Braun come down. You didn't need to do it in like a tag team fatal four-way type situation, So yeah, not crazy about it, but the tag division is so flat to me that equally I can't say I was massively bothered. I just don't think it looks that great when you're trying to build up the tag division. So, but it is what it is. And when do I think he'll get a title shot, or when do I think he'll get a title? Hard to say, to be honest. I think we need a lot of building. He's only just come back, so title shot next year. Build him up. It's not something that I'm in a rush for. I don't think that it's something that he needs either. I think he's better when he's in a feud and he's like causing havoc and everything. That's the Braun that I enjoy. Right, we are actually live right now. We are enjoying SmackDown. Here's Logan Paul. I think there's a few boos, A few boos for Logan. Yeah, that's not a great reaction. Smile on Logan's face. Mitchell said, one more. If Brock wanted to win the tag belts, who would you put him with? According to 2K22, AJ and Brock work well together. Who would I put him with? Yeah, well, do you know what? I'd go AJ. I would go AJ, and the reason why I would go AJ is because they're not really doing anything with him at the moment, so why not? Right, there's a smile on his face. I think I did it again. I've got a habit of opening my mouth and saying some stupid stuff. Okay. Logang for life. Logan versus Roman, lol. Hollywood Guy said, I'm a bit upset that Tony got pinned in the tag match. The new champ shouldn't take the pin. Why wasn't Deeb pinned or Athena take the pin? I'm guessing because they want her to defend the title maybe against... I can't remember who pinned her. But whoever got the pin on them probably now stands a chance of saying they deserve a title match. Although saying that, it led, didn't it, to a Fatal 4. So perhaps that's the argument. The champ got pinned. So that's how we got to the Fatal 4. Okay, so... So there's a press conference. Press conference tomorrow. Here's Paul Heyman. The crowd are not into this at all. Feed Roman this fall. Here's Paul Heyman. Solo Sikoa. The Usos. And the Honorary Us. Heyman making his way down. PW Insider reporting Ezekiel is off the roster page. Elias could be returning soon. Oh, that's interesting, James. Okay, so Heyman in a very sharp-looking suit. He's got the bloodline with him. Logan in the ring on his own. Bloodline surrounding Logan. Roman did say and tell Paul to deal with Logan for him. What are they chanting? Come in, Paul, says Logan. Logan invites Paul Heyman into the ring. He goes to shake his hand. Crowd boo. Logan is on his own. There's no one to back him up. Jake can't help. Fans would jump in the ring. He might have to bring KSI, says Mark. Jesus. Boos. Loud boos for Logan. If ever there was anyone outside of WWE that could be a Paul Heyman guy, it would be Logan Paul. Well, it doesn't seem like the low gang is in the house, does it? I don't think there's many low gangers. The Maverick crew or whatever they're called don't appear to be in the arena tonight. Hatred of Paul is going to make Roman a face. Paul should be booked as a heel, but creative have screwed this up, said Mr. Channel. How should Elias be brought back, says Brenton. Dude, I'm not even thinking about that right now. I'm trying to see where this is going. Paul Heyman said, I wouldn't fight Floyd Mayweather. I'm not sure you would fight anyone, Paul, says Logan. I know we're in Anaheim, but don't act like Mickey Mouse. Your brother, Jake Paul. Where is this going? But do you think Roman Logan is the right match? No. I don't think it's the right match at all. I don't mind them doing the match. I just don't think it should be for the belts. I don't care about your ambitions. I don't care that you and your brother have changed the fight game. Make the smart decision of picking a fight with someone else. All leaders except for Putin have been invited to the funeral, says Sonny. Dave said, knowing WWE, Jake Logan will be future tag champs. What are you guys so afraid of? Are you afraid that I might challenge Roman at the press conference for the title? Let's assume that happens. Paul Heyman's like, what if I land that one lucky shot? Wow. If that happens, wrestling's over, isn't it? Scott said there's so many more deserving people to get a title shot. What I will say, though, is that Logan's in his prime. That's the name of his drink. Free plug. Logan better not get a shot at the title. Or prepare yourself for it. It's happening. I don't like this scenario, and I don't like you either, says Paul Heyman. Now, I have to handle you? Heyman has called up Solo. If Logan Paul is about to beat Solo Sikoa, I bet I can knock you out and be out of this ring before Solo gets to me. And he goes to shake... Here's Sami. Here's Sami. Sami. Listen to me, Oos. I got this. Listen to me, Oos. Oos. I got this, Oos. You know what? Yeah. Maybe you're not the right man for this job. Maybe Roman should have let me handle Logan Paul. Paul Heyman gets out the ring and he says, go on then. Logan. Friend. You're not from our world. Logan hits him. Sami goes down. The crowd boo. Oh, true. Usos and Solo get in. Logan rolls out the ring. WTF was that punch? I love Sami, says Jordan. Brendan said, WWE doing a press conference. Nothing goes wrong at those. Ricochet has come out. Oos got a oos. Entertainment is entertainment. I don't hate this. Logan is interesting, said Darcy. Rivy said, get him, Sami. There we go. End of the segment. What was your thoughts on that opening segment? Darcy enjoyed it. What were your thoughts? Liz Jericho said that is assault. Toxic Falcon said that was terrible. Ryan said, did you see the Usos laughing at Sami? He's great, isn't he? Listen, what I've just took from that segment is Sami is great. That's what I've learned. And I already knew it. So Dark Angel said 10 out of 10. Christian said nice segment. Chola said it dragged a bit. Dave said I'm not fussed. Hayden said the promo was okay. Chua said, what did Logan say? He basically said he's done it again. He's said that he could beat Roman. Roman's got upset, so he's booked a press conference and for tomorrow. And Heyman has said, like, you need to, pick on someone else, kind of a thing. And that was it, really. Some crowds like Logan, some hate him. He's clearly a babyface, but no one likes him. I don't know what they're doing, says AGJ. Said, I don't mind Logan. He's legit enough if he beats Roman. WWE is dead, said Jamie. Logan's pretty cringe, said Rev. Logan is more than decent on the mic compared to other celebrities, says Darcy. Logan definitely got some heat. Job well done, said Rivy. I've said Logan reigns for months now, said Houston. Brenton said, as long as Logan goes against Sami, if he goes against Solo and wins, that'll tear him down. Man United Hodge, shout out to you. Smurfy Toon said 10 out of 10 for Sami. Did you notice Jay laughing whilst Jimmy was mad? Is it not meant to be the other way round? I respect Logan, but Sami must be the guy combined with... I don't know what that means. Oh, Sami should be the one to bring down the bloodline. Abdil Hamid, I agree with that. Glenn said, WWE should bring Sasha and Naomi back for good. Be right back. Going to make a PixArt match card, says ATD. I use PixArt. Jordan said, with the reports of Triple H bringing back unexpected wrestlers, who do you think they could be talking about? Don't know, because they're unexpected. So I really don't know, actually, because I feel like we speculate about so many people. Who is he going to bring back that would be unexpected at this stage? I mean, you can just go down the list of people that were released. Like, if he brings back the Iconics, is that going to be unexpected? I mean, I've spoke about them. I don't know. I mean, equally, it might not be them. But if you go down the list of people that were released, I mean, it can't be anyone from AEW because they are seemingly under contract. I'm not aware of any contracts, like that are about to be up. So I don't think it's anyone from AEW. I don't know if he's going to be looking at New Japan, trying to get Switchblades. But again, I don't know when them contracts are up. I feel like a real surprise would be someone out of New Japan. I've not heard anyone being linked from New Japan. But honestly, if it's any of the wrestlers that were released, I don't think that's a surprise. If he brought back any of the... I mean, Velveteen Dream would be a surprise. But if he brought back any of the wrestlers that were released recently in 2020 or 2021, like if he brings back Sarah Logan or Mia Yim, like, are these a surprise? I don't think these are surprises. But if he brings people in from New Japan, which he has done before, that would be a surprise. It just really depends when contracts are up. Right, Ricochet against Sami. This is where we are. Ricochet against Sami Zayn. So we are back up and running. Bloodline still at ringside. So Sami gets knocked out by Logan. So Ricochet, Sami. We've got This match was announced quite close to the show. We've still got the matches that were announced earlier, obviously, to look forward to. Nice action here by Ricochet, working on the arm. So if you are just joining us, Sami getting knocked out by Logan. He's back on his feet and he's involved in this match. North American Championship defended tonight against Madcap Moss, apparently. Are they trying to bring Jake into WWE? Why would they mention him so much? I think it's just because he's a big star. I mean, I think they could be looking to bring him in eventually, but I mean, clearly it's not going to be any time soon because he's got a match against Anderson Silva. But I think if you've got, I mean, right now, Jake is doing more than what Logan is. Logan's just doing his podcast. Jake is taking on Anderson Silva, being called out by pretty much the whole fighting world. So I feel like, you know, if you've got Logan, you probably are going to be mentioning Jake. When Logan was around last time, he got mentioned as well. So I don't think it's really anything in particular. Kick there by Sami, who rolls out the ring, is on the outside, same side as Logan. Logan says, "How's the jaw?" Kick there by Ricochet. Fans would have Jake safer to keep him far away, said Mark. Big Time Back said 4-week streak AEW did over $1 million for the first week, driven by Punk Moxley. Second week by Curiosity. Third week by pay-per-view bump drama. Where did this massive audience come from? I just think it's a continuation of that. I mean, I think that the drama might have just taken a little bit of time to have like reached everyone. I think it continued to build news, obviously, of the suspension. So we didn't know what was happening last Wednesday. It got announced on the show that CM Punk was suspended and everything, and so was the Young Bucks, and we were going to crown a new champion. And so, you know, that obviously had a week as well of doing the rounds. I just think it's all a continuation of the same thing. So I don't think they booked anything in particular that has resulted in this getting to where it was. If it wasn't for the drama, I would expect it to still be around that kind of 950 million mark. So I think it's just all a continuation of the same. Is this the first match? Yes. Are we sure that Triple H can book? Look at that segment and the thought process. If Logan did beat Solo, that cuts Solo off at the knees. He now presumably a competitive match with Madcap. What booking? Well, he hasn't booked Logan Solo, so that was a concern. I mean, I for a moment there, I thought, oh my God, if they were going to feed Solo to Logan to build Logan up and make him seem more credible, I think people would have seen through that. And I don't think that would have got a great reaction at all. But to be honest, Logan has not got a great reaction here at all. He's been booed out the building. So I don't know. I don't know if this sends a message to Triple H that you might be going after the Low Gang, but it seems like a good majority of WWE fans are not interested in this matchup. We go to commercial break. Are you seeing the leaked photo that came from a few hours of WWE titles? They look rough. I've not seen a leaked photo. I've seen a mocked up image, which looks fake to me. If it's the same thing, it looks fake. Darcy said, I'll tell you what, if Logan does go to face Roman for the titles, it's a crazy addition to an already insane resume. Gotta admire his determination. Rotem said, after Sami got punched, Jay was laughing at Sami whilst Jimmy was mad. Okay. Well, that makes sense. If we know that Jay doesn't like Sami, so they probably would react that way. I would rather see Days versus Roman. No, that would be awful. Are I like Ricochet's ring gear, says Rivy. Edward said, Paul Heyman says to Logan, if your brother had balls, he'd be your sister. Has to be the greatest line in WWE history. Brenton said, sad thing, Logan is more deserving of a title match than Theory. At least Logan wins his matches and lays out people, not the other way round. Joseph said, Days, can you give good luck to Norwich to win? Norwich, I hope you win. Shout out to you, Norwich. Sonny said, are there any royal family members that are single? If so, can you hook me up? I have no idea. I think George is, but he's about 5. And no, you perv. Junior said, Logan Paul would have been in the ring with Mayweather, Miz, and Roman on his resume. Why doesn't Jay like Sami? Poor Sami. I like that story, actually. I think that Jimmy is welcoming Sami into the bloodline, but seemingly he's doing it quite naively. He's accepting what he sees, and what he sees is Sami being very, I want to help you guys. I'm the honorary use and all of that, and he's buying it. Whereas Jay is not as trusting, and he's just not buying it. He just does not trust Sami. Thinks that Sami, because he isn't blood, will turn on them. And to be honest, who knows? Who knows? I mean, Sami is someone that, can't be trusted. It feels like he can at the moment, but I can understand Jay's reaction. But I'm here for it. I think it's great how both the Usos are reacting different to Sami. It's good. It's really good. Moise Kane said it should be Carrion versus Roman, not Logan. Rev said Logan over any full-time wrestler is a joke. Ernesto said Logan has to put butts in seats if he wants good crowd reactions. That's how he can get a real push, give and receive. Right, we're still underway with this. 24 minutes into the show. Sami going up top. Ricochet grabbing Sami. Sami pushing Ricochet down. Sami up top comes crashing down. Drop kick by Ricochet. So drop kick by Ricochet. Ricochet is down. That was nice by Sami. Nice, cool looking spot. We had Ricochet into the barricade earlier. It's a spot that we've seen before. Kevin Owens, Sami needs to join forces with Logan. And so Logan can have the WWE and Sami and Kevin can take the tag belts. Takedown by Ricochet. Look at Sami's render. Look at Sami's render. Is it on social media? I don't have a way of looking at his render now. Crossbody by Ricochet. And kick out by Sami. Ricochet could be the next Rey Mysterio. Can't see anything on Twitter about Sami's render. Was there something off about it? I know the angles are recycled consistently, but doesn't Jay Sami thing remind of MJF Sami in a circle? Kick out. Predictable as heck. Are we sure they aren't paying attention to AEW? Yeah, they're paying attention to them, but I mean, I don't think that they're doing this because it connects. There was Paul Heyman grabs, he's so frustrated. He grabs a drink and spills it all over the announce table. Michael Cole's like, that's mature. That's mature, Paul. Sami round the back of Ricochet. Ricochet lands on his feet. Nice. Super kick there by Ricochet. Sami is down. Ricochet going to the outsides. Ricochet is climbing up. Jimmy comes up and distracts. Sami picks up, looking for a blue thunderbomb. Now Logan distracts. 1, 2. Shoulder up by Ricochet. So Logan Paul distracts after Jey Uso had distracted. Days, are you part of the Low Gang? No. James said, I'm calling it now. The Bloodline kicks Sami Zayn out after he loses to Ricochet. Paul Heyman is the best, says Ryan. Super flip to super kick, says Rivy. Do you think they're rushing Logan Roman because Roman won't be around in a year or so when Logan is probably ready? Maybe it's now or never for the match. Two count there. There's no excuse for it, to be honest, because I can't see any reason as to why you can't do Logan Roman just after WrestleMania or even just before WrestleMania and do it like months and months away from that. Why can't you do it at the Saudi show they tend to do in February and at least give Logan some more matches and at least give him a match where he earns a number one contender's title shot or something? Maybe it would have been a bit more palatable had there have been like a number one contenders match that Logan had managed to win. Shoulder up by Ricochet. Jey Uso got in the ring and distracted the ref, which actually cost Sami. Sami now is coming over. Jey only did it because he thought that Logan was going to do it. Sami goes out the ring. He's getting right into the face of Jey. We got problems in the bloodline. He's looking out for you. Jimmy says he's looking out for you. Ricochet comes crashing down on all of them. So Jey accidentally distracts the ref. Ricochet up top. Ricochet looking to finish this. He comes crashing down on Sami. 1, 2, 3. And Ricochet wins. Ricochet beats Sami. And there's trouble in the bloodline. Trouble in the bloodline. So, So we've had a Logan promo, and we've had Ricochet beats Sami. Madcap Moss has jumped into the ring. So it is a win for Ricochet. Madcap's got in the ring, so I'm guessing, is this going to go straight into Madcap versus Solo? Ricochet is 7-1 in the Triple H era. Theory is 4-10 in the Triple H era, says Junior. Okay, so Ricochet beats Sami. We've got something here about Carrion. We'll revisit the shocking attack coming up next. Doomsday Cross. This is definitely heading towards Sami Logan. Is it possible we see a double turn? Don't think so. I mean, Logan wanted to leave WrestleMania as face, which is why Miz attacked him at WrestleMania. And then obviously he was face at SummerSlam. I don't think Logan's got any desire to be a heel because I think he'll see that as hurting his brand. And it is true. I mean, there's kids out there that don't watch WWE that might not know if it's scripted or not. And if they see Logan acting like a douche, it could hurt his brand. So I could understand him not wanting to be a heel. I can understand that. Dr. Zeus is a popular children's book. The author name is pronounced Seuss. Kyle said, I just can't get invested in Ricochet. It's never happening. He feels cringe at the best of times. Making him friends with Logan Paul does not help. Ryan said, am I the only one here who doesn't like Logan wrestling? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I thought he did very well at SummerSlam. I will definitely give him that. James said, all this SmackDown needs is a pizza guy called Luigi. Yes. Luigi Primo. I hated all of that, said Master Chief. Good match. They should have kept it going and gone straight into Madcap versus Solo, said British Soundboard Pranks. Joseph said, would you want to see John Cena back for WrestleMania against Austin Theory? Next year, they are talking about it. Yes. I would have Theory win that as well. It's not like Paul is an idol to kids like Hogan or Cena is, says Mr. Channel. I think he is. I think that makes up his fan base. I think that he is got a big children's audience, and that's the reason as to why they're trying. He's got an audience that WWE feel they can turn into wrestling fans, and that can come over and start watching the product. So, that's the only reason why we're doing this. That segment took up 30 minutes of the show, says LSW. Thoughts on one-man booth? What would that work like Joey Styles in ECW, says Brenton. One-man booth. Not a fan. Not a fan. I think that having a bit of back and forth, a bit of conversation is a good thing. Like both people getting their points across. I think if you've just got one person sat there, then it doesn't work as well, to be honest. I like the back and forth. I like the color commentary as well. Like you've got someone doing the play-by-play, and then you've got someone coming in and just giving a bit of color. So, you've got someone telling you what's going on in the ring and the moves and, literally calling the play-by-play commentary and then the color person. So, yeah, I feel like one's too small, and I think 3 you could argue is maybe too many. I think a two-man booth is perfect. So I think that's the way forward. If you think of JR and Jerry the King Lawler, if you think of Gorilla and Bobby, Michael Cole and Taz, like two-man booth is always like the sweet spot for me. So yeah, I wouldn't do a one-man booth. Get rid of Madcap, says Blazed. AWC said, bring back the Hurt Business. Bring back the Hurt Business. I mean, you can bring them back, but you've got to book them right. So bring them back and make them credible. But I like the Hurt Business. They were good. I mean, we have done nothing with Shelton. We've done nothing with Cedric. I think the Hurt Business was good. And putting them in sharp suits, I think they look great. So, yeah. But you've got to book them to win. I mean, they booked Shelton and Cedric to look like jobbers. They just kept letting Bobby down, and in the end, he had enough and kicked him out. So, if you're going to bring them back, you've got to book them strong. We're just seeing Carrion right now. He made some pitiful noises. This is how it ended last week with him being choked out by Carrion. Poor baby, says Scarlett. That's the biggest difference between you and me. I don't let anything go. I change the timelines of history. Karrion Kross. Clearly on a collision course with Drew. I will make sure that you never get out. Tick-tock. Tickety-tock. Okay. Okay, Max and Maxine Dupree. So, what we got here? We've got a Maximum Male Model segment. Max and Maxine Dupree. Booze. He says LA. We're not here for the bright lights of Hollywood. So again, he's just teasing LA Knight. It's the back to school collection. Oh, I'm here for this. Why didn't they announce this in advance? Yep. Brilliant. Brilliant. I'm loving the little skateboard that Mansoir's got. So he said only a stone's throw away from LA. Look at that. Absolutely brilliant. That is school chic right there. Love it. Love it. Oh, no. Braun's coming. Boom. Oh, my God. He really collided into them. He really collided into them. What's he got? I don't understand. Why he's beating up? Why he's beating up Maximum Male Models? What have they done? Oh, God. He's absolutely ruined the back to school collection. God. I was just about to make some orders as well. Braun Strowman comes charging down. And in the ring goes Mansoir. So Maximum Male Models back to school. Ruined by Braun. Braun has got Mansoir in the ring. Pink jacket. Oh, I don't even know what that was. I don't know if it was a body shot or an uppercut. But Mansoir goes down. We got Maxine on the outside. Mansoir in big trouble here as Braun has got him in a powerbomb situation. Mansoir can't get away. He gets picked up. Powerbomb down. The monster of all monsters. Oh, shoosh. Shoosh, please. Shoosh, please. Shoosh, please. Here's Chad Gable. Chad Gable is making his way down. Got to think Otis. Otis attacking from behind because there's no Otis. So Chad Gable has made his way out. Not the pencils. There's Otis from behind. Otis. Oh, clothesline. He goes down. Chad Gable comes in. Knee strike to the midsection. Chad Gable goes down. Mansoir stole Cora Jade's skateboard, says Eric. Otis drives into Braun. Braun goes back into the corner. So right now, Alpha Academy are getting the better of Braun. Oh, Otis picks up Braun, slams him down. Strowman sits up, though. Taking tips from The Undertaker. Alpha Academy on the outsides. Braun takes his shirt off. And Chad's telling him not to engage. So, yeah, it looks like Otis and Braun is... a match that we're going to be getting. Okay, well, that was that segment. So Alpha attack Braun. Former tag champs. Saudi is going to be Braun against both men. Yeah, I could see that, Junior. Yeah, good shout. So Braun... handicap match. I can definitely see that. Commercial break. Ryan said it's a very odd night tonight. I would agree with that. It is a strange one. Braun is looking shredded, said Rivy. Sonny said, thoughts. Nick and I have got a plan. He gets to meet Prince Andrew. I marry Prince Andrew for the money. It's not worth it, mate. I mean, just Google Prince Andrew, and I think that'll change your mind. AR1 said, I like the Undertaker setup. This is the way to portray Strowman, said Oration Minds. Braun is ripped, said Zoom Station. Dakota said, Ray versus Dom. Brenton said, thoughts on New Day's career. I think they're talented, but the group has become really goofy. I thought it would have been interesting if they'd have taken a dark heel gimmick. Yeah, I don't know. I think they've just become stale, to be honest. I just don't think there's anything for them to get their teeth into. I think that since they lost Big E, they lost a big part of their appeal. I think they could continue just as Kofi and Xavier, but really as soon as Big E was gone, they needed something to reinvent themselves with. And you could have taken them like dark and heelish. But I don't mind them staying fun and positive. And, you know, I don't mind that. But, I mean, we've had unicorn horns. We've had bootios. We've had New Day pops. We've had pancakes. I mean, I think didn't we have waffles as well? Like, we've done a lot of, like, different bits and bobs, like, but I'm sure we could have found something else for them to get their teeth into. Like a New Day book that they could have been shouting about. If you think about like Jericho, where he had the list and things like this, it doesn't even need to be anything that big. Just a little something that they can have fun with, you know? There's been nothing. Since Big E left, I can't think of a single thing that they've been able to have fun with apart from Xavier becoming king, which I didn't think was very good. Xavier became king. He made Kofi Sir Kofi. And in all fairness, he's had quite a few injury problems. So, you know, that's hurt as well. The fact that there's been injuries. And, like, we haven't been seeing Kofi. We haven't been seeing Xavier. Sometimes there's only been one member of the New Day. So it's just been rubbish. Since they split and took Big E out, the whole thing's just stalled and fallen apart. And, yeah, it's just not been good at all. But I've not given up on them. I just think they need to get their teeth into something. They need to get past their injuries, and they need to get their teeth into something. And you could even give them another thing would be give them a replacement for Big E. Put a third member in, and boom. I mean, like, that would really freshen things up. Could work, might not work, of course. But I think if you used to get the right person, then it could be fun. But yeah, I agree. They're a bit stale. Right, Tag Team Championship, Fatal 4-Way tonight. We know about that. New Day taking on Brawling Brutes, taking on Hit Row, taking on Imperium. Okay. Might get Braun Undertaker match one day, said Mr. Channel. Years ago, Undertaker stared at Braun and he left the ring like the time is not now, said Mr. Channel. But wearing headphones for an hour will increase the bacteria in your ear by 700 times. They're just showing us the women's tag title match from Raw. And obviously, we saw what happened there. Disappointment happened as we got new champions, Io and Dakota. Not the biggest surprise in the world, but disappointing. Because I really like Raquel and Aaliyah. But that is obviously going to lead to Raquel and Bayley tonight, which might be next, actually. 46 minutes have gone, so we've got about 14 minutes to go until we get to halftime scores. If you remember, there was a week or two where they first started. They were a dark heel group. Xavier dressed like a college professor. Big E and Kofi were sort of in business clothes. They were heelish at the very start, yes. Right, here's Damage Control. We got the power. We got the rage. Braun attacks maximum male models. Alpha. Academy attack. Braun. We got the power. We got the rage.
Right, here comes Damage Control, and it is Bayley that's going to be taking on Raquel. Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez. I remember the New Day's power of positivity, says Mole. Apparently, Shotzi is going to get her tank back, says James. Miguel said, what happened to NXT UK? It's finished. There is Jojo Siwa. Jojo Siwa. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Back again. Ding dong, hello. Oh. Bit of a picture problem, but we are back. Okay, we can go to any brand anytime. We can go to any brand anytime. Smackdown is our show now, says EO. This is what greatness looks like. NXT UK on tour. No, it's done. We've got the power to win championships. Sasha and Naomi are definitely coming. Here's Raquel. So Raquel making her way down. She had enough of listening to Bayley. You know, I don't see greatness. I see 3 bullies. And I see people that are powerless from me getting revenge. Okay, so Raquel getting into the ring. So we're about to get underway with Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez. And I'm guessing that's going to be coming up after the break. Raquel, no smiles this week. Very serious. I don't mind that. Why not give Damage Control the belts right off the jump? Why not give Damage Control the belts off the jump? Now the women's tag belts are already hot potatoes and the group exists. No impact for Bayley's return. Should Bayley have just been alone? I don't mind her being in a group. I don't mind them using Bayley to bring Dakota and EO onto the main roster. I just think that the group doesn't look great. I don't think this group, I mean, there was that moment at SummerSlam when she comes out and she brings them out. There's real excitement there because I think people, certainly people that watched NXT, were really into EO and really into Dakota, but it's not really like kicked on. It's not, they're all right. They're all right, but I don't think they've been these fantastic additions to the main roster. Like they're all right. Like this Bayley group just feels all right. It's not a part. I mean, like when they come out, it's all right. It's Bayley, but I just kind of think they're falling short. They definitely could be better. I think they could look better. I think they could be presented better. And so I think like, yeah, some of the booking from Triple H has been, well, it's hard, isn't it? I mean, I would say it's not what I would do, but to be perfectly truthful, I don't know if there's anyone in the world that would do what I would do. Equally, I don't know if there's anyone in the world that would do what you would do. Like, I think we've all got our own ideas about how we would book the show. So I can't really expect Triple H to book the show the way I would book the show. Equally, I don't think anyone can expect Triple H to book the show the way they would book the show. But yeah, he's doing his own thing. He's made improvements. But there's definitely things I do look at and think, oh, you could have done a bit better there. That could have been better. And I'd have to say damage control is one of those things. I think that I just can't get over their presentation. The way they dress is just so nonchalant. Like, there's just nothing to them. There's nothing impressive about them. Like, Io's great in ring. Obviously, she's very eye-catching. But when you open the show with someone like Ricochet, when Io's doing her moonsaults and everything, it doesn't feel that impressive because, look what we just saw from Ricochet. NXT are doing live events in and around Florida. They're going to bring back takeovers, starting with Halloween Havoc. Seems like we're going to get NXT 1.5, not 3.0. Mole said, you've got to bring in new superstars to make a better brand from NXT. Maybe bring in old superstars to make it interesting. We just got an advert for WWE Shop. We're about 7 minutes away from the halfway point. I'll be very interested to see what people think about this show. It's a weird one. I do agree this is a weird one. When do you think they'll start getting Braun into an organized storyline? I think we're there. I think this is it. I think he is feuding now with Alpha Academy. So I agree with what Junior said earlier. I could see it being Alpha Academy versus Braun, 2 against 1. So I think this is a story now. Rather than just random attacks, I think this is Braun against Alpha Academy. Right, we are underway with Raquel Rodriguez and Bayley. Raquel Rodriguez got a really good size to her. She's bigger than Bayley. Hurls Bayley back in the corner. Strike coming in by Bayley. Raquel Rodriguez smiling as she goes over to Bayley. Bayley rolls out the ring. Raquel Rodriguez jumps out, goes after her. We've got Dakota and Io. Io gets picked up and thrown into Dakota. Raquel just walks past the women's tag champs. Kick by Bayley. Bayley is caught in the ropes. Forearm strike there by Raquel. I'll ask, are we sure Triple H can book? To me, it seems like he brought in his crew and given names back. There's more wrestling. I will give him more time. Yeah, give him more time. I don't think he can't book. NXT has shown us that he can. 1, 2, shoulder up. Spoiler alert, Raquel will win against Bayley, says Miguel. I just asked Leonardo DiCaprio out on Twitter. Very good. My top 3 wrestlers, Ray, Randy, and Drew, said Dakota Miller. Bayley should easily beat her, said List of Jericho. Elliot said, this SmackDown feels a little chaotic. It's fast-paced. Maybe needs to slow down a little bit. Legend Killer is cheering on Bayley. In the ring goes Raquel. Double axe handle by Bayley. Shots come raining down. Bayley is jumping on the back of Raquel. And again comes crashing down. Can Triple H book 2 hours, says Robin. Triple H can book a wrestling show, but not a TV show, says Junior. Jamie said, I love this strong woman. Bayley in the arms of Raquel. Raquel goes into the corner. Bayley comes charging in afterwards. Shoulder tackle by Bayley. Bayley goes down. Kick there by Raquel. We've had nearly 400 votes. Where we are right now, 43% of people love Roman against Logan. 24% hate it. And 33% don't care. So, quite close on Twitter. I don't think that poll's going to really change now, to be honest. I think that's probably where we are with the poll. Raquel is the future, said Mad Jason. Watch Aaliyah turn on Raquel when she returns, said Mr. Channel. Bray wants more money. Bye then, said Excellence of Execution. Yeah, I did see that earlier. Apparently there has been talks, but Apparently, there'd been talks with other companies, and it all breaks down because Bray is looking for a certain amount of money. Kicks coming in by Bayley. And again, halftime scores in 3 minutes. Yeah. Helicard said Logan will be a speed bump. Bayley working on the leg here of Raquel. Smile on the face of Bayley. Damage control on the outside. Applauding as Bayley grabs the leg of Raquel. She trips Raquel. Kicks coming in by Raquel. Bayley is pushed back. Bayley tries to grab a hold of the leg. Raquel. Oh, nice kick there by Bayley. Bayley going against the ropes. Forearm to the back of the head. 1, 2. Kick out by Raquel. Kick out by Raquel. Bayley is on her knees, getting back up to her feet. Bayley is going after Raquel, who's in the corner. Edward says, how much was this, Mike? It was a couple of hundred. It was fairly expensive, but hopefully the sound is better. It's a different kind of microphone. The other microphone picks up really a wide range. But the problem with that is it picks up all the kind of white noise as well. This one is literally just focused to what's in front of it. So that's why it has to be as close. So it looks a bit different. It feels a bit weird having a microphone as close as what it is, but it's not picking up all of the other noise. So it should be clearer. Clothesline by Raquel. Another item that those kind donations have gone towards. I mean, so far this year, we've managed to get an upgrade to the PC. We've managed to upgrade the microphone. I did look, actually, to see if we could upgrade the camera, but to be perfectly truthful, this camera's fine. It's absolutely fine. In fact, we can't even max the camera out because of my internet's not as strong. So we could get an even better picture out of this camera as it is, but we can't. Because the internet, because we're in the countryside, it keeps dropping out and whatnot, and this is the most stable that we can make it, so. But we'll keep looking to upgrades. Dakota is slammed on top of Bayley. Raquel comes crashing down on Dakota and onto Bayley. Raquel picks up Bayley, looks to drive her down, but EO grabs a hold of her. Referee didn't see that. And this is going to allow Bayley to get the win. It's going to be thanks to outside interference. 2, 3, and Bayley gets the victory. Raquel had to try and deal with all the members there of Damage Control. Kicks coming in there. Is this going to bring down Aaliyah? Where's Aaliyah? Why is Aaliyah not here? Is that going to bring out Shotzi? Shotzi comes running down. Where's Aaliyah? Shotzi comes down. She grabs the leg of Dakota. Yeah, Shotzi. Wouldn't expect this from Shotzi. She's been a heel. So Shotzi has come racing down to the defense. Shotzi seems to have be sick and tired of Damage Control, says Michael Cole. So what? Raquel, Aaliyah, and Shotzi maybe. Could that be a new group, or even if it's just like a 6-person match? Babyface out of nowhere. Yes. We spoke about AEW viewership. What about WWE's? With all the goodwill and supposed momentum, Raw is now running into Monday Night Football, and US Smackdown seems off. Am I wrong? Look, it's running into football. That was always going to be a problem. SmackDown seems off. I don't know that SmackDown is off. I just think that the Logan feud has divided people, and that has eaten up at least a quarter of this show. if you had Roman opening the show, this SmackDown would probably feel a bit more normal, a bit stronger. But Logan coming out as the babyface being booed out the building, and them desperately trying to work to, make it work, as it's felt weird because it is weird. It is weird. So I think it's the feud that's derailed it more than anything else. But there's other little things as well. Like I said, I think they could have done better with damage control. Bailey beats Raquel. Oh. Right, we will do halftime scores. Let me just punch this in. What I will say is that this show, to me, doesn't feel like a thrill ride. I'm not here losing my mind or even close to losing my mind over this week's show. So I would say it's lacking in that regard.
It's the halftime scores. I really want.
Let's see what people think. Halftime scores.
Put it in the chat. Halftime scores.
This crowd sucks, says Mr. Channel.
It's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores. Everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this.
Okay, here come the scores. Shotzi is a better face than a heel anyway, said James. Sonny said 6. Justin says 7. Hayden says 6. British Soundball Prank says 7. Hayden, 6. Brenton, 4. John says 3. Kyle said 5.5. Justin with a 7. John Moxley with a 3. Burn It Down with a 7. Little Crimson with a 6. 9.7 says Brendan. Greg with an 8. Quinn with a 3.5. Roten with a 6. Trini with a 7.5. Smurfy Tunes with a 6. Ribby with a 5.26. Camilio 6.5. Ethan said, when do you think Sasha and Naomi will return? Because I don't know when they will. I'm really not sure. I thought it was going to be Clash. Because I thought that the tag champs were crowned by then, and so it makes sense to bring back Sasha and Naomi. To be honest, I am wondering now if Triple H is telling the truth when he says that he would like to bring them back, but it really comes down to what Sasha wants to do. He said that to Ariel. He said, she's someone that loves this business, but it's quite clear she's got other passions as well. So really it comes down to what she wants to do. So I think Triple H made it very clear he's open to bringing her back, because if she chooses to come back to WWE, it seems like that door is open. So, they've been suspended. I think we're so far past that incident now. I mean, with Vince going and everything, it just seems like such old news. So, yeah, I think we're, it's done. I think they can come back at any time. But I wonder if there's some truth in Sasha not quite knowing what she wants to do. I mean, we've been down this road with Sasha before. So I could believe that she is taking this time away to think about what is my next step. Do I go more into acting? What opportunities are there for me in acting if I go in that direction? Do I go back to WWE and have another run with that? Or what do I do? I feel like they're going to come back. I think they will come back. It's just the times I thought it was going to have happened, we've gone past them. I thought it was going to be Clash. Right, we're seeing Corey and Michael Cole. Here's an exclusive interview with Kayla Braxton and Ronda Rousey. Baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey. See what Ronda's got to say. Last time you faced Liv for the title, things ended in a controversial fashion. There won't be any controversy this time. Here's Liv. Liv's come in. I've never met anyone that says words that mean nothing more than you. I'm the only person on this planet to beat you twice. Yeah, one was a cash-in, the other you shouldn't have won. She really comes across as a heel to me, Liv. Like, she's just come in and interrupted Ronda's promo, unprovoked. She says, I beat you twice, not acknowledging the fact that both times, sketchy at best. Why does she sound like a robot as well? She said she wants an Extreme Rules match. You want an Extreme Rules match with me? Your funeral. Ronda gets up and walks away. Okay. Hello, here's Drew. Drew's just jumped onto the commentary table. Congratulations, Carrion. You got my attention. Do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. You talk about your TikTok. You talk about time. Time is running out for you. Three, two, one, lights out. So Drew responds to Carrion. Came out of nowhere, jumps onto the commentary table. Drew on the table is strange. Right, we're backstage with the Bloodline. Solo getting ready to defend his North American Championship. I've got this. You was off your game today, Jay. Solo wants Sami to go out with him. Ooh. This is a development. I like that. I like that. Solo wants Sami, the honorary Oos, to come out with him. Look at Sami in the back. He's having the time of his life, man. That's right. That's right. Oh, I like that. Anything that's going to stir this pot is really interesting. Solo picks Sami to come down to the ring. Let's go, Sami. New NXT North American champ, Solo. Sami is the greatest hype man, says Lone Star Friends. Did you notice they changed the teams in the four-way? I did, yeah. Street Profits were in there, and they were my pick to win it. Spoiler, Sami gets kicked out the Bloodline, says Miguel. AJ said, what if the Bloodline kick Jay out of the group and keep Sami? Sami is Zayn. I hate myself for... Sami is zany, says Jamie. I hate myself for writing that. Dakota said, I'm calling it. A member from the Bloodline is going to interfere and his opponent will win. Right, it's going to be... Well, it's Solo against Madcap, isn't it? Dream match. Dream match. Solo Sikoa versus Madcap Moss. Right, let's move this over. If he didn't come back, wouldn't the Rumble be a temptation? If they did come back, wouldn't the Rumble be? I think it would be good, especially if Sasha doesn't win. It depends, really. I mean, it depends how close we get to the Rumble. It really depends when they're ready to come back. I mean, if they're ready to come back now, you probably would not wait for the Royal Rumble because it's so far away. But if talks are going on and we get closer to the Rumble, then yes, absolutely. But I would say it really depends when they're ready to come back. But I love Sami. I want Solo to win just because Sami is in his corner. I love Sami as well. I think we all love Sami. Is Solo defending the belt here? Yes, he is. Yes. I love the way the North American NXT title looks, says Master Chief. Is this for the championship? I believe it is, Larry. Yes. Darcy said, do you think it's possible there's just too many groups? It feels like almost every feud has got potential for an interference, and there's always someone at ringside. That is true, and it is a problem as well. We just don't need all this. You know, it's a big criticism of AEW. And I think it was Brenton that mentioned that we saw on Wednesday less kind of attacks after matches. And that's something that we've been calling for a long, long time with AEW. So we definitely don't want to be seeing it with WWE. So, yeah, I think people really like the idea of faction wars and lots of different factions battling to be the best. Like, that's always something people tend to like the idea of, or it always goes over quite popular. But the truth is that there is a bit of a downside to it. And that is a lot of outside interference, a lot of screwy finishes as you get, obviously, the faction members brawling on the outside, getting involved in matches, so on, so on, so on. So I don't mind factions, and I don't mind them doing a bit of a faction war type thing. But it would be good if we could just tidy up the ringside area, you know, managers only type situation. Like, it doesn't really make any sense why people are at ringside. Like, it used to be that you could only be ringside if you had a manager's license. And that was something that they used to shout about. So it would be good if we could, like, tidy that up. But we won't, because it's pro wrestling and outside interference has always been a big aspect. But yeah, I must admit, it's not something that I'm really keen on and looking to increase. Faction wars need a team title. Spoiler alert, Liv Morgan is pregnant, says Miguel. I'm not sold on Sami, and I never have been. That's a shame. British Soundboard Prank said PW Insider have said Roman was booked for tonight, but it doesn't look like he's showing. Kyle said, in this very PC world, I'm surprised people haven't complained that it's racist to have a North American title and not a South American one. Brenton said, here's an interesting question. Who goes to WWE first, Young Bucks or Sasha and Naomi? People are guessing Kevin Owens as the go-between. It'll be, apparently Young Bucks didn't send feelers out. Dave Meltzer has reported that Young Bucks did speak to someone in WWE, but it's probably Kevin Owens. But at no point was he asked to pass any messages on. So Sasha, Naomi. I don't think Young Bucks, at least the noises coming from them is that they're not looking to go to WWE, or that they've not even asked to go to WWE, haven't even inquired about going to WWE. Solo and Madcap then. This is going to be our next match. And how long have we got left? Just over 40 minutes. WWE should add a TV championship like WCW had back in the day, says AR1. Trini said, I think the reason behind the building of factions will show itself at Survivor Series. I think Triple H is going to attempt to do War Games on the main roster. Have heard about War Games potentially replacing a pay-per-view on the main roster. I haven't heard anything concrete about it, but yeah, it could. We could see that happen. I would love it if Survivor Series was just to go back to how it was. And as you say, rightfully, we've got a lot of teams that could result in some great feuds. Right, we are underway with Solo and Madcap Moss on SmackDown, the two linking up. War Games would be amazing on the main roster, said Erasure Minds. I can confirm that Liv is pregnant, and I am the father, says The Beach Kevin. Miguel said, spoiler alert, Liv is now getting married. Wow, this is a busy evening for Liv Morgan. She's got an Extreme Rules match with Ronda. She's pregnant. She's getting married. I've also heard she's been abducted by aliens. Crazy. If you wanted to spotlight Solo Sikoa and even Moss, why not make this match the main event? What is the main event? I'm guessing it's probably the tag match. Knee strikes coming in by Madcap. War Games won't be the time without William Regal. Liv is with a lady, says William. Liv is pregnant but drinking mojitos on her live yesterday. Wow, that's reckless. That is reckless. Bring back Bo Dallas and team him with Matt Riddle. They can be Bro Dallas. Then when Randy comes back, they can be RK Bro Dallas. Mole said, Liv is a great champion. I will go with her, but I hope she doesn't turn heel. Days, what is Liv's new favorite video game? Fallout. After that SummerSlam match, it was Fallout. Against the ropes goes Madcap. Duck underneath, shoulder tackle. Against the ropes, again goes Madcap, clothesline, and Solo goes over the top to the outside. So Sami coming over, just checking on Solo. He's looking a bit concerned as Madcap jumps out the ring, goes round the outside, grabs a hold of Solo, smacks him face first into the commentary table. Would you like to go on a Timmy's date? No, I don't think Timmy's. I don't know if Timmy's is for me. It sounds like it sounds a bit like a Starbucks or Costa Coffee. That's not my idea of a place to go on a date. I'm a dinner and a dancing kind of a guy. That's me. And I don't think Timmy's does either of those things. You can't hear a pin drop. Days ignores Sonny's comment. I just answered it. Brendan said, what is Bo Dallas even doing nowadays? Shame, because I thought he was a good talent, despite his goofy gimmicks and being Mrs. Lackey. Well, he got let go, didn't he? I mean, I don't know what he does now. I think, hasn't he got a farm? I'm sure he's got a farm. Perhaps he's just doing perhaps he's living the Brock Lesnar life. Sami on the outside as Solo is in control. Madcap going into the barricades. Shot there by Solo, and again. Kick coming in by Solo. It's keeping Madcap down. I heard Lesnar's coming back, said Joshua. Mark said he has a farm with Liv. Roten said, managed by DDP, they would beat Bro Dallas Diamond Page. Days, go on a date with me to Hooters, then share the dancing in Candor. Well, they do. I mean, in all fairness, they do dinner at Hooters. They do food, don't they? I think it's largely wings. So that's a little more up my street. What about going on a date to Spanky's? It's a strip club. They don't do food in strip clubs, do they? And I don't think you can do the dancing. I think the girls do the dancing. I don't know. I suppose maybe you could go after dinner and dancing, but I must admit, it's a very strange place to go on a date. It's a very strange place. Oh, I'm going out with this girl on Thursday. Oh, where are you taking her? Strip club. What? I mean, in all fairness, if you go on a date with a girl and she's like, yeah, I'm down for that, marry her. Just marry her. There and then. I think that's like, you know how Logan has fast-tracked himself to the title? I think if you go on a date with a guy and you agree to go on that date to a strip club, I think you just fast-track yourself to marriage. I think that's how it works. I think that's the cheat code. If you want to get a guy to marry you, first date, take him to a strip club. Boom, done. James said, one of Triple H's surprises, could it be EC3 back with Braun? I don't think so. I don't think EC3 really worked in WWE. I mean, you could put that down to book him. And the fact that he wasn't booked very well, but I don't remember him lighting up NXT that much. And then I remember, if anything, him getting called up to the main roster, and we were like quite surprised he'd been called up because it felt quite early, and I don't think they had anything for him. So I don't know. It really depends what Triple H wants to do. If he thinks he can use EC3, then maybe EC3 is a name he would look to bring back in. Yeah, I mean, certainly I agree. That's a name no one's talking about. Ooh, so chant, and Sami on the outside like, ooh, so, he's just dancing away. Ooh, so. He was having a great time. We're still underway with this one. Battling away for the NXT North American Championship. Big strike by Madcap. Solo trying to throw a shot in. Madcap throwing in some big strikes. Driving Solo back. Solo gets clothesline down. And again. Goes over to try and get a shot in. Madcap picks him up, plants him down. Speaking of, is it just a default role for floundering talent being Miz's lackey? Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Ciampa, even John Morrison went goofy with Miz in his run. Thoughts? No, I don't think it's that. I don't think that Ciampa is a floundering talent. I think that he is with him to try and introduce him to the main roster. I think that people have worked with Miz at different stages in their career. I think for Ciampa, this is how they're introducing him to the main roster. He'll turn on Miz and then he'll go off on his own. Some other people get put with him more towards the end of their time, and it's because they've got nothing else creatively for them. So it can serve a few different purposes, but I don't think it's a one rule kind of fits all. I don't think it's like, oh, we don't know what to do with these people, let's put them with Miz all the time. And I certainly don't think that's the case with Tommaso. I think Tommaso, it's like, let's put him with Miz. He can get some experience. He can learn the ropes. We can introduce him to the main roster crowds. And he can, eventually they'll turn on each other and, you know, he can go his own way. Elbows coming in by Madcap. Madcap going back into the corner, charging over. Samoan drop by Solo Sikoa. Shoulder up. Spoiler alert, Liv is not friends with Ruby Riott, says Miguel. Madcap has got no charisma. It doesn't matter if he is heel or face, says On. Coach Co said the characters Bert and Ernie on Sesame Street were named after Bert the cop and Ernie the taxi driver in Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life. Don't be surprised if he asks to go back down to NXT, said Big Guy. Who, Tommaso? I think Tommaso's gonna. I think he's fine. Honestly, I think he's. I understand it's not the way people would have brought him up, and I understand that it doesn't really fit his character of all people. But equally, I don't mind it. I'm not a massive fan of it. It's probably not how I would have brought him up. But I can understand, like, you know, them wanting to put him with the Miz. It puts him in it gets him on the show. It gets him on the show. It's not like they have to find stuff for him, because you're always going to find stuff for the Miz. And, you know, it gets him onto the show. gets him into segments. And as we said, he can have the odd match, and eventually he'll turn on the Miz, or the Miz will turn on him. Sami Zayn pulls Solo Sikoa out the ring, so we do get more outside interference. Here's a thrust kick by Solo. Solo picks up Madcap, plants him down, and looks like Solo's going to get the win thanks to the help of Sami Zayn. So Sami interferes, and Solo wins. So Solo gets the job done. We've got half an hour to go. Solo Sikoa wins. Was it Vince leaving that changed Ciampa's mind on going to the main roster? If I remember right, he never wanted to go. No, because I think he joins before Vince goes. I could be wrong, but I think what they did was they basically told him to go to the main roster. So it wasn't really a choice. He was under contract and they moved him to the main roster. And I think it's a case of let's get him on the main roster. Let's show him what it's like up there. Let's show him that we're not going to misuse him and we're going to treat him like right. And hopefully then we can convince him to stay. So I'm not aware that he signed a brand new contract extension or anything like this. I think that they just pulled the trigger on moving him up. Is Liv? I don't know what that was. This Liv is by, I think, says List of Jericho. Days, please host a Rampage meet-in Arch party. I don't even know what that is, but Days, Usos versus Sami and Solo for the tag titles. What do you think about that? I don't know how we get there. That would be a big split in the bloodline. I mean, that's Sami out, that's Solo out. I mean, I can't see them doing that for friendly competition. Don't know. That would take a lot of work, I think. Hit Row said, Dave, you're the twos and we're the ones. But for the 100 million time, Liv is with a woman who she does not want released. Sonya recently revealed her girlfriend. Jim said, I thought the Street Profits were in the Fatal 4-Way. They've got taken out, and I don't know why. Don't know why. Okay, so Solo beats Madcap. Done. Madcap had no crowd support. Well, they've not built him up, have they? I mean, I think the whole stuff with Corbin was a cringe, personally. I mean, I wasn't feeling that feud at all. I honestly don't know what he's done after that feud because it's been a while now. It's been a good few weeks. I don't even know. I can't remember the last time I saw Madcap. So he just feels really, really cold. Just feels really cold. So, yeah, I mean, he's not someone that's got much momentum, which, in all fairness, is probably why he's just lost to Solo, because he's someone that can take an L right now. I reckon Liv is married to a guy named Jake Anderson, said Dark Angel. Do you think they will have Hit Row win this match? Yes. Yes. Let's put in the chat who people think. Let's go. Who wins? I don't know if I can remember everyone that's in the match, actually. So we've got Hit Row. We've got Imperium. We've got Brawling Brutes. And we've got Hit Row, Imperium, Brawling Brutes. This is the one that I'm forgetting. Who's the other one? Did I have it written down? New Day. New Day. There we go. Right, got the poll up in the chat, so get your votes in. Brawling Brutes are going to win, says Zora. Brendan said, speaking of Hit Row, I'm really surprised if Max Caster doesn't reference them in his rap to burn Swerve. Do you think he'll mention them? Yeah. Yeah, I think he could do that. Marvelin said Imperium 100%. The only thing is, if Imperium win, does that not mean that we get heel versus heel? That's the only reason that I've not gone with them. I mean, I think Hit Row are faces. I think. Anyone but Skid Row, said Mr. Channel. Brawling Brutes look so weak. They need to win some squash matches, says William. Right, here we are. We are back with the show. Logan Paul. What time is that press conference? Oh, here. 12:30 Pacific time. I mean, it's a crown jewel press conference, so what do you think they're going to do? So live on all of WWE's platforms, it's at 12:30 Pacific, but why have they not given us the Eastern time? Isn't that a bit strange that they've given us a Pacific time, but not Eastern time? Roman returns next week. So Roman returns next week. So they've announced the press conference. Hit Row making their way out. So we've got Roman next week. What else we got? We got Braun Strowman against Otis next week as well. You know this about me. I'm a rap aficionado, said Michael Cole. Wildly talented trio. Yes. Corey said, I think you should join Hit Row. Now we're talking. Get Michael Cole in there. He'd be the perfect replacement for Swerve. Wyndham has changed his bio on Twitter. Not nada. It's a new day. Yes, it is. He who opens the door below is Wyndham's bio. Rest with Andy said, what's your thoughts on the old SmackDown world title? Do you consider them proper world titles like Jack Swagger and Del Rio? I don't know why, but it was always seen as like a step below. I don't know why. When that was around, it always felt to me like the WWE was the one. And then the world's heavyweight title was like just a level below. I mean, in all fairness, they've done a great job of making the WWE and the Universal feel quite similar. If anything, you could even argue the Universal, because it's been on Roman for so long and it's been on Brock. You could even argue that one has felt a little bit more prestigious than the WWE. But, I mean, look, the WWE is the WWE, isn't it? So that one's always going to have prestige. So, yeah, I actually thought it felt a little bit lesser, but it is, yes, I mean, it was still a world title. But, I don't know, at the time, it always felt like WWE was bigger. Bray said door. Is that Forbidden Door? I'm going to make a quick video, said Dave. Are you streaming the press conference? I don't know, because I still haven't worked out what time it is. I'm in the UK, and I know that's 5 hours ahead of Eastern time, but I don't know how many hours that is ahead of Pacific time. If it's about 8 hours, that'll mean it's 8:30, and we're actually starting our stream at 9 because that's when UFC starts. So, I don't think we're going to be able to if it's that. I don't know, if it was 6, 6:30, 7, then yes. But if it's like 8:30, I don't think we'll do it. I don't think we'll be able to. How would you book Bloodline to lose the titles? I would probably book the tag belts to go first, and of course solos to go first, and just leave Roman. I think that would show Roman would then be getting frustrated. He would feel like his family are not as strong as what he is. And in all fairness, he can then start berating them, having a go at them, belittling them, saying they've let him down, and stuff like this. You know, he's got his belts. Why have they let theirs go? Maybe that could then lead to The Rock coming in, because The Rock doesn't like how he's treating the rest of the family, doesn't like how The Rock has been, portraying the family anyway. But now he's just going off on Solo. He's going off on the Usos because they've lost their titles. And then that could potentially lead to Roman and Rock and play a part in Roman versus Rock. And then eventually I would do Roman. Honestly, right now, I would do Roman Sami. I would build it and build it and build it and get it to the point where Sami gets abused and he just has enough, and Sami turns and fights back. And if you built it right, crowd would go crazy for that. I don't know how you book the match to have Sami win. It's going to be really hard. That will be really hard because Roman has just survived everything. I don't know if you could have Kevin. Maybe Kevin could come down and deal with some outside interference. Owens could come down and deal with, the Usos. And basically get it so that it's just one-on-one. Get it so it's just Sami and Roman. Helluva kick connects. Blue Thunder Bomb. I don't know. There must be a way you can book it. It'd be hard, but it would be an amazing moment. And that'd probably be SummerSlam, because that gets Roman to 1,000 days. Over the top goes Xavier. We're getting a lot of jumping over the top. We've got Top Dollar on his hands and knees, and now we've got Kofi jumping over the top. Owens could team up with Johnny, says Mark. We need Kevin Steen and El Generico reunion, said James. Sami and Kevin take the Usos titles, said Zora. Usos versus Judgment Day for the tag titles. What do you think about that? Well, it's heel versus heel, so I wouldn't do it. John said maybe Sami doesn't beat Roman, but weakens Roman so that Austin can cash in and beat him. Right, we are at commercial break. How long we got? We got 19 minutes to go. 19 minutes to go. Breaking news tomorrow at 3:30, Roman press conference with Logan. 3:30 what time? That Eastern time is that. So it's 3:30 Eastern. That's going to make it 8:30 then, which is what I was thinking, because I was thinking we were 8 hours ahead of Pacific. So that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting, but I think we're all expecting it to be a case that they're going to make the match. I mean, it's a crown jewel press conference with Logan and Roman, so it doesn't really take too much to see where that's going. We need maximum male models, said Houston. Mr. Channel said, I wish Street Profits were in this so Bianca could come out and take B-Flab to school. They will ruin the Sami angle. Already started losing to Ricochet, says Brian. Cynthia said, it's been busy since we started packing up the house and on top of my daughter's school. Hope everything's going well. Logan will acknowledge That would be great. Imagine we get to tomorrow and Logan just says, Roman, I'm sorry, I acknowledge you. And then he bows down and tells all of his millions of supporters that they need to acknowledge Roman as well. That's the best we can hope for. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. Sami and Kevin Owens reunion and battle the Usos for the tag champs would be awesome. The build-up is great, says Catherine. Dakota said, what do you think about Baron Corbin's moveset? It's all right. I don't think that it's anything particularly that special. But, I mean, Deep Six is pretty good. End of Days is pretty good. I like when he goes sliding out past the post, comes back around, comes back in. I mean, other than that, his moves are fairly standard. So it's all right. I can't say it jumps out as anything special. Sonny said, I've got to get my UFC picks done. I'm going to watch college football. I don't care about Roman or Logan, said John. Back from commercial break we are. We've got Raquel. There's Raquel's back. Celebrating Hispanic heritage. So there we go. Right, 16 minutes left to go. We've got this WWE Tag Team Championship #1 contenders fatal four-way match. All the tag teams are in the ring right now. Kicked there by Ludwig. Ludwig looking out to the crowd. We got Giovanni Vinci on the edge of the ring. Ludwig going for the pin. Pulling back. We've got Butch in there. I mean, it does look like Pete with the long hair and the singlet. That's interesting. He's trying to pound his way out by doing these kind of strikes. Against the ropes goes Ludwig. Butch. Big clothesline, and down goes Ludwig. The master of joint manipulation. Look, pulling back on the arm. Butcher's got the fingers. We are seeing like he's got one of the fingers and he snaps the finger back. Trying to bend the arm back, bend the fingers back. He's got the arm down. Butch in control, comes stomping down on the arm of Ludwig. It's okay, nothing to brag about. Yudong and Leech for the tag titles. Junior said Hulk Hogan in 2022 still looks better than 95% of the current WWE and AEW roster. Here's Ridge. Slamming down Ludwig. Hit Row stole maximum male model shot at gold. Imperium should win, and if you don't want to bring Gunther down, don't make his guys lackeys like the Usos, says Brenton. Right, we've got strike to the back there by Giovanni. Ridge Holland, arm drag by Giovanni Vinci. We've not seen Hit Row in this match or get tagged in. We've seen them do a few things when everyone was in. But largely it's just been Imperium and Brawling Brutes. They call him Pete Butch Dunn on NXT. When did they ever call him that? I maybe it was when I wasn't watching. But I never heard them say Pete Butchton. When was that Zoom station? I mean, if you're telling me that, I believe you. But was that like recently? Do you think Kurt Angle's last opponent should have been John Cena and not Baron Corbin? No. I think it should have been someone other than Baron Corbin, but the thing with wrestling is when you retire, it's always good, and really it's the done thing. It's not done all the time, but in my opinion, it should be. When you retire, you should lose to a young up-and-comer and put them over, because that is your final act of giving back to the business. There's nothing more for you to achieve. A win in your final match doesn't really make much sense, because why are you beating someone because they've got to continue after you're gone? You don't continue. Everything you've done in wrestling is already done. Your final match is your goodbye. So for me, it just makes perfect sense. You would lose your last match and put someone over and give them a bit of a push, give them a bit of a bump. Because if you are a legend, then beating you should mean something. It should matter. And I can, in that sense, understand why they had Baron Corbin beat Kurt. That was never an issue. I just don't know that Baron Corbin was the right person to get that bump, get that push, because he's always used in a heelish kind of outside interference kind of a way. So how much does he benefit by beating Kurt Angle? I don't know that it really massively helped him. And I think it could have helped someone else. So again, John Cena, no. If John Cena was to beat Kurt, it doesn't make John any bigger, does it? I understand that some fans might look at it and say, well, it makes sense to do John because, of their history and ruthless aggression, and it'll be a nice moment and all of that kind of a thing. And you can certainly look at retirement matches that way and say that it should be like a spectacle or whatever. But I'm a lot more into, giving back and losing your last match. That's a bit of a wrestling tradition, which, as we said, isn't always followed. So, yeah, I wouldn't have done Cena. I would have had him go up against someone and lose, but maybe someone that was a bit more credible than maybe someone like Finn Balor. To be honest, off the top of my head right now, I can't tell you who was in what feuds, because was it WrestleMania 35? Without going back and looking at it, I wouldn't know who was doing what, but I would have given him someone more credible. Ric Flair lost to HBK, Stone Cold lost to The Rock, etc., says Knight Rider. Cynthia says, I'm dealing with a head cold. Yeah, chicken soup, that's a good way forwards. As long as it's not like Ric Flair's last match, says Mark. Did Solo win? He did, yes, he did. Miss Clown, shout out to you. Jason said Chad Gable would have been good for Angle's final match. If the booking after would have been better, if he would have benefited from it. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it, really? I don't think that Corbin benefited from it. I think Corbin went into that quite cold, and I think afterwards there was a little bit of gloating that he beat Kurt in his last match, but nothing really that really benefited him. I don't think that he was a made man because he beat Kurt, and I think that was a waste. So I 100% agree that Baron Corbin was wrong. Who should be Ray's last opponent? Well, the obvious answer is Dominic, isn't it? That's the obvious answer. I think Ray putting his son over and potentially handing the mask over, or Dominic taking the match, snatching the mask as a memento and saying, this is mine now, and just taking it. That could be fun. Ray's final match will likely be against Dominic, says Knight Rider. Right, we are coming back from commercial break. We got 9 minutes left to go. Don't forget, after SmackDown, we will be doing our post-show review. We always do a review following Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. So we will be doing a review. Plenty to talk about. This has been a weird little show, to be honest. Very strange. I don't know that there's been anything in the way of OMG moments, and I think maybe the OMG moment they had lined up was Logan at the start, which, can't escape the fact he was getting booed out the building. So I think that just kind of set a very strange atmosphere. And then following that, we've just had some matches that I don't know the crowd have massively been into. I mean, Ricochet against Sami. And we've had Bailey against Raquel, which, again, we've had Solo taken on Madcap, which went for quite a bit of time. And now we've got this match, which I think people are into. So crowd definitely making some noise for this one. I need to change the text on screen. It is a fatal 4-way tag match. Who is going to go on to face the tag team champs? Who do you think will retire Edge? Who will retire Edge? That's a good question. I mean, seemingly it's going to happen in Toronto next year. And again, it should be someone. I mean, I'm guessing he'll be a face, so it needs to be a heel. And it needs to be a heel that's got some credibility. And it needs to be a heel that will benefit from being the one that retired Edge. So it's very hard to say who that's going to be by the time we get to, next year. One of the names that might come to mind might be Damian Priest. Damian Priest is someone that doesn't have a great deal of credibility at the moment. He's in Judgment Day, though. So, there's maybe some hope. But if we build him up, he could potentially benefit. But we might be well past Judgment Day Edge feud by the time we get to, the middle of next year. And also, what with the draft, again, that could change a few things. Gunther wouldn't be the worst. You see, Gunther is someone that's still trying to establish himself. So Gunther would be, to beat someone like Edge, I think would be a feather in his cap. So Gunther, and I think that's a very credible final opponent for Edge. Against the ropes, Butch with a German. He's taking out everyone here, Butch. But it could be someone like Pete Dunne. I mean, if we get Pete Dunne back and he's still a heel, he would be great. So, yeah, hard to say because we don't know what the roster's going to look like or what feuds they're going to be in at the time. Big chops coming in by Butch and against the ropes. Big boot there by Top Dollar. Top Dollar kicks Butch down. In comes Kofi. Top Dollar has got Kofi on his shoulders and Top Dollar has managed to get both Butch and Kofi on his shoulders. And now Xavier has jumped and he's on the front. Top Dollar's got Kofi, Butch, Xavier, and he's parading them all around in the ring. This just isn't right, says Michael Cole. This just isn't right. Here's Ridge with the clothesline, and Ridge trying to pick up Top Dollar. Can't quite do it. Top Dollar trying to pick up Ridge. Ridge has got Top Dollar up and slams him down. That's a nice spot. That's a nice spot. Shoulder up by Top Dollar. Was that an Alabama slam? I think that might have been an Alabama slam there by Ridge. Holy ship chants. Forearm strikes by Ashanti. Ashanti and Xavier's quite interesting. Ashanti and Xavier, that's a fun match, actually. Against the ropes goes Kofi. Kofi suicide dives into... could you imagine Ashanti being in New Day? Didn't really ever think about that. But Kofi... Butch makes the save. Kofi, Xavier, and Ashanti. Over the top goes Xavier. It's just carnage at the moment. The reversal by Kofi. We've got Kofi over in the corner. Against the ropes. Spinebuster. Hit by Ludwig. We've got Ludwig. We've got Imperium working together well at the moment. Tag. There's been a tag there. Ridge has tagged himself in. Ridge gets a hold of Ludwig, throws him over the top. 1, 2, 3. Brawling Brutes. Didn't see that. Didn't see that. Brawling Brutes. Aren't they heels? Aren't they heels? Didn't see that. So brawling brutes against Usos. I was impressed by that strength display, said Xavi. Show feels like a 4. That's my equivalent of a teacher giving you points on a test for putting your name at the top of the paper. Then they are faces. They're faces now. Just check the queue time. What is it now? 25 hours. Is it 25 hours for the queue? They stopped it earlier, didn't they? For like 6 hours because there were so many people. Is that really the queue time? 25 hours now. I'm going to have a look. Queen queue. I mean, it is Friday night. So this is when people are off work, not at work tomorrow, no school, things like that. Wow. The queue is near total capacity with a wait time of 25 hours. Wow. I must admit, I heard a lot of people, they said here in the UK, 30 hours is what was being anticipated. 30 hours. And it's been around, like, the queue's been about, like, 2 miles, 3 miles. And I don't know what that translates to. It's certainly not 30 hours. I think it's more like 8. So I wasn't disappointed. But I was like, oh, well, it's clearly below what they were expecting. Clearly below what they were expecting. It's below what they planned for. So I suppose in a way there's a little bit of disappointment that like more people didn't come out. You know, if they're expecting this many and only this many show, then I suppose it was a bit like, that's a shame. But wow, that's gone, hasn't it? 25 hours now. I've tried to look to see what the longest queue ever was, and I can't find that information anywhere. Can't find it. I don't know if it's in the Guinness Book of Records. I don't have that. But I did put in longest queue, and what comes back is like longest queue for the toilet, longest queue at an airport, longest queue for a food stall, longest queue for like, but not just longest queue. But I've got to think 25 miles is, well, no, not 25 miles, 25 hours waiting. That's got to be in the records. Well, it's got to be in the conversation. The only thing is, if someone actually did a queue on purpose, like to literally break a record, you know, they do that kind of a thing. Like, this isn't to break any records. This is just what's happening in the world right now. This is just a queue that is actually happening for a very real reason. Maybe there was a queue that was done, I don't know, in America, in China or something to break that record. So I don't know. Either way, though, that's stunning, isn't it? Stunning. How long do you have to wait to see the Queen? 25 hours. Longest queue for a queue. Someone explained to me, I'm lost. Yeah, the Queen is lying in state. The Queen passed away. The public can see her. So you get to walk past the coffin and just pay your respects. I mean, you literally get all of like a few seconds. Like, you get to walk past it. You can stop for a moment. Just like, you know, nod your head, say a couple of words, and then you've got to carry on walking. So, I mean, you get literally all of a couple of minutes to, like, from start to finish, walk past the casket, walk past the coffin. She's lying in state, so people can go. It's free. You just join the queue, but the queue is now 25-hour wait to go do that. That's amazing, isn't it? Amazing. Right, anyway, nothing to do with wrestling. But we are going to go. I'm going to go so that I can get over and do the post-show review. Really appreciate people joining us. Join us for that review because we'll do the review. I don't feel like there's actually loads to talk about so much this week, so we might be able to get to the chat a little bit quicker. Either way, we'll see. But thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate it. I'll see you over there for the review in a second. Bye for now.